What's up? Yeah, can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, I can. My friend, are you 21 or older?
Yeah.
Awesome. What can I talk to you, or what would you like to talk about? What can I do
Um,
for you?
yeah, we probably disagree on a whole lot of stuff, okay? But
I
just
like disagreements. What do you disagree on? Let's pick a topic. How about you pick one of the topics up above?
yeah. I'm gonna talk about the billionaires should be taxed at 94% thing first, I guess.
Sure.
The at least one of the justifications I've heard for you that you gave before or whatever was like, oh, I say that number because we've taxed them at that higher rate before.
We have.
I don't think that is. I think that's somewhat misleading because
It's not.
effective rates were never anywhere close to 94%. So the top
World War II, my
statutory,
friend.
yeah.
World
So
War
the
II.
top, so the nominal. So when I say effective rate, I mean what people actually end up paying. There's a difference between
Correct.
the
Yes.
effective rate and
Yes,
the
correct.
statutory rate. So the statutory
correct.
rate was 94% for a few years after World War II.
Yep.
Now, I don't think that just, I think, there's a good case to be made that we would have been better without it. I don't think that just because we had it back then means it's good or anything. But regardless, effective rates were never actually that high. If you look at the average effective rate that people paid, even the highest estimates, like there's some economists who are fairly progressive economists. They talk a lot about inequality, Piketty, Zayas, and Zuckman. Even their estimates placed the peak of the effective rate at about 45%, because there were a whole bunch of ways that people used to avoid paying much
Yep.
taxes in the 94% bracket. They had
Cool.
pass-through
I'm
income.
gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna
Sure.
stop you right there because you said a lot of stuff, and you're not wrong. But do you know what they actually did with that money?
I mean, so I think that's a little bit different, but so
No, it's not. No, no, no,
during
no,
that,
no. Hold on. If we're talking about avoiding paying taxes, you would have to do things in order to stop from avoiding from paying taxes. So what did they do back in World War II when they were being taxed at 94%? The top 1% of income earners. What were they doing with that money?
I don't know exactly. So I think back then
They,
the biggest,
okay, so hold on, wait.
most
So
people were incentivized
wait,
to
hold
keep
on,
it in the C
hold on,
corp.
wait a second. Non-fun. Hold on, wait a second. You said you didn't know, and I want to be in the spirit of having a good faith debate here. I would like to tell you what they did. They reinvested it back in their businesses. So what happened is then they started investing in things like pensions and better healthcare options for their workers and better working conditions. So essentially what happened is the workers then benefited from all that money that they were paying out in taxes, which helped to bolster the middle class. It helped for us to have things like the 5-day work week. I mean, there's so many good things that happened because we taxed billionaires at that rate.
Okay, so I think that like healthcare compensation to employees has like only gone up, as a total, obviously, but also probably as a I
Sure,
don't have, like
that was
data
just one
in the
part of the
dam,
example,
probably
though.
as a percentage of compensation because we heavily incentivize companies to do that post the ACA. But
Right. But once again, that's just one portion of it, my friend. They invested once again in pensions, more equipment for their businesses so that way workers were more safe. There was a lot of things they did for workers with that money because once again, they wanted to avoid paying those taxes on a personal level.
Sure. So I think insofar as you kind of distort people's decisions on
That's
that
not distorting.
margin,
That's what happened.
No. So when I say distort there, I'm not saying that you're distorting. So I'm saying that the tax is distorting someone's behavior, as in the tax is causing people to behave in a way that they wouldn't, absent the tax. And we think that's like distortionary insofar as it's, changing their behavior and quite often, a not optimal way. That's distortionary is the term that, like economists use. But so insofar as you're like distorting people's decisions as to whether or not to keep money like inside a company or to take it as a salary or whatever, like I think there's conceivably there's cases where I can imagine there's sort of a positive distributionary effect there, like that can be the case. But for one, I think the primary margin that people at the time were adjusting on was just keeping money within. I think it's either a C corp to S corp. I forget which one it was. And it wasn't necessarily that they were just, reinvesting all this money or whatever. It's that they found ways to essentially, have their business consume things for them. people will consume more perks from the company if you restrict their pay. We have evidence on this from, for example, the CEO pay cap that China did. Turns out CEOs were actually just kind of find ways to consume perks from the company.
So that's
I would think that you're probably
non-fun. Well, that's the reason why I want to have our government actually impose higher taxes on them, so that way they can find ways to get out of those loopholes. I want those loopholes closed.
What? Okay, so I brought up the point that the effective rate on billionaires was not actually that high, back in the...
But it was.
Back in the 60s.
In terms of like
that's
total,
that's a nominal rate.
Yes,
that's
correct. Once again, yes, agreed. But we're arguing two sides of the same coin, my friend. Once again, at the end of the day, when you impose that high of a level of taxation, even on a marginal scale, you're going to find out that someone doesn't want to pay 94% of the money that they've earned into paying in taxes. So they'll find ways to divert it, meaning they'll end up investing in their businesses.
We went over that, and I was just laying out the successive claims that we made, right? But
you're avoiding that.
So to be clear, I said the effective rate was not that high, and your response to that was, because they found these ways to avoid it by doing things like reinvesting and such. And then I laid out why I think that is distortionary, why I think that probably is bad, right? Wait a second. Your response to that was that you just want those loopholes closed.
Wait, why are you saying that? Wait, hold on, wait a second. Why do you think that investing back into your business is a bad thing if you're a business owner?
So I don't think investing back into your business is bad. And I want the tax code. No,
that's what you just said.
I want the tax code to prioritize investment. I want the tax code to allow for...
But our tax code doesn't do that now.
So our tax code does have expensing, right? So business investments are expensible.
Very little.
So post the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, most research and development is fully expensible, and post the Big Beautiful Bill, I think most investment period is fully expensible. But we generally do have expensible. You can expense investment that your company does. So I think the tax code should...
Wait, hold on. Can you give me an example of that?
So, for example, if your company invests, $200 million into developing a new drug, when you go to report the corporation,
you gotta say rugs, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, you gotta say rug. Okay.
Listen, it's TikTok friendly language. We gotta talk like 6-year-olds. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'm just not used to in the context of the pharmaceutical industry. I'm not used to having a censor there. But regardless,
you can talk about not the pharmaceutical industry. You can talk about a different industry if you want.
Yeah. But any research a company does, if they do a research into some brand new rugs, some beautiful rugs, when they go to report the corporation's taxable income for that year, they would be able to deduct the $200 million for that year because they spent it
tax
on investment.
Sure. Okay.
Well, that's an example.
That's investing back into your business. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. So I think the tax code should aim to preserve the incentives for a company to do that, and I think they should aim to preserve the incentives for companies to do that equal to. There's a whatever. I don't think they should distort those decisions based on a tax structure, essentially. So I think if a investment makes sense absent a tax, ideally, even with a tax, it should make sense. So I think a DBCFT, which is not worth getting into, preserves those incentives, right? Any investment that is kind of worth doing under no tax, it is still worth doing under a DBCFT.
Buddy, hang on. You're filibustering here, my friend. Okay. Can we try and stay to one topic here, because it feels like we're going off on a tangent. Okay, listen. I don't disagree with you. I think that businesses should go back and invest back into their business, because by investing back in your business, I think it's important that it also benefits your workers at some point in time as a byproduct of said investment, right? The problem that we're finding here is, based upon just a lot of examples, is that businesses are not doing that. What they're doing is they're taking that money and they're doing things like stock buybacks and investing it back into their stock, so that way it benefits their shareholders. That doesn't benefit their workers. I would prefer that they do something that benefits their workers. And then if we have to invest in or if we have to write legislation and regulation in order to stop them from doing that, and to outlawing stock buybacks and doing things that are predatory and that do not benefit workers, then that's something that we should pursue.
Okay, so I don't actually think it's the case that stock buybacks don't benefit workers on net, but we can get there.
They don't though. They don't.
So
they literally do not. Unless they are invested in the business themselves via purchasing stock, which most workers these days, especially the average worker, doesn't have enough money to even pay for their rent half the damn time.
So it's not clear that buybacks themselves actually meaningfully increase the price of a stock, because if a company
they artificially inflate it. They artificially inflate it.
Okay, so if a company is buying their own stock, they're doing a buyback. Either they buy it with cash and that reduces like the book value of the company, or they buy it.
Wait, hold on, wait a second. No. It doesn't reduce the value of the company. It increases it.
Okay.
When you're buying back more of your stock, what does that do to the stock?
It doesn't necessarily do, because in order to do it, you have to
give
something up.
Hold on.
Right?
Wait a second. Hold on.
You have to give
hold on.
cash.
I need you really to engage your brain here, man. When you buy more of a stock, what does that do to the price of the stock? Does it make it go up or does it make it go down?
That's ambiguous. You can have a...
No, it's not ambiguous. It does a thing. Does it go up or does it go down?
Okay. Do you think if a company sells a ton, like
I don't need you to pivot, man. Listen, man, I don't need you to pivot. I need you to answer the question. When you buy back stock, if you're a company, what does that do to the price of the stock? Does it go up or does it go down?
Are you at, so empirically, we tend to see it go up.
I just need you to answer the question, man. I really just need you to answer the question.
So empirically tends to go up. Theoretically, I think the effect is ambiguous. So if you see a headline
no, it's not. It does. Once again, it does one of two things. It goes up or it goes down. Ambiguous is not one of those.
So if you see a headline that says like, a million, quadrillion, trades today, right? Everyone is trading today. Everything is selling. Do you think that means stocks are likely going up or down?
If they're selling, it means they're going down.
Okay, but the total number of sales is equal to the total number of people buying it, right? Like there has to be a buyer in order to sell.
Yes, correct. And I'm saying that CEOs and companies are buying said stock.
You can't like reason from that tautology, right? Like you can't.
Dude, you can't reason are you just trying to Phil-bro me right now? This feels Gen X. Does this feel like a Phil-bro? Am I taking my crazy pills here?
This isn't
really what he's trying to do is he's trying to do a circular argument to try and justify his own point.
Yeah, this feels very circular for sure.
It's extremely circular. So essentially, when these companies buy back their own stocks, they inflate their own value in the company. And this is to prop up their own shares, prop up their own value, make sure that the shareholders are happy. And they make more money.
Did we lose Gen X?
Huh?
I'm sorry, I thought we lost you. My bad. Go on. I'm sorry, go on.
You're fine.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
So they make more money and non-fun. I just want to know, what does the top 10%, how much of the world's wealth do they own?
I think that depends on what you count this wealth. I don't know off the top of my head what it is, but I can look at some of the different estimates that I've saved. So I think that's like I don't know what the source. I don't know what the source for that is, but the estimates on wealth inequality are kind of they might not be as easy as you think, right? So like for example, here's just one consideration you should make in the U.S. context, and it's also relevant in the context of a bunch of other countries. So should Social Security be included in measures of wealth inequality? Because everyone, like the Social Security Trust Fund, has like a very big pool of assets. It's worth a lot of money. It's worth trillions of dollars, and almost every American citizen has like some claim to that Social Security income in the future, right? Nonetheless, it's excluded.
Except it's becoming insolvent now. Except it's becoming insolvent now because Republicans are defunding it.
Right. Well, that just means the benefits are going to be reduced, but it still has trillions of dollars. Like the net present value.
Something that Republicans are doing. Something that Republicans are doing.
Yeah, they're taking away people's
that's a separate.
Hey, that's a separate thing. Hold on.
That's not separate.
Not a separate thing because
it's all together, man.
You wanted to include it.
My point here is just to say
non-fun. You wanted to include it in people's overall wealth and their assets. So if we're going to do that, just because you include Social Security in that, for a lot of people, that's not a lot of money. And that still breaks it down to 42% of the 90% that are left that are fighting for scraps.
Correct.
Compared to the 10% that have 68% of the wealth.
Okay.
But if you're talking... I don't know what you're... Hold on. Non-fun. Are you advocating for supply-side economics? Is this your argument?
So depending on what you mean, there are some conduct that support supply-side economics.
So I am a... It's so simple.
Can you just answer the question, man? Is that possible?
I consider myself like a liberal still, like left of center and stuff, but I am like a neoliberal. So like there's some sense in which I support supply side economics, but I'm not like full on Reagan. Okay, like I support a welfare state. Okay,
You're not a
that,
neoliberal. You're a neocon.
Yeah, that's not that. What you're saying all is not neoliberal thinking.
Yeah, you're a neocon.
Okay.
Or you can say
So,
you're a
I don't
libertarian too. I wouldn't be mad about that, because at least then I could debate you on that.
Well, I think so. I mean, I don't care that much about like what you call me, but like I don't describe that way because it gives people a misleading impression. If I said I'm a libertarian, but like I voted for Kamala Harris and like I like the welfare state and stuff, like people would just be kind of confused by that. But
Your
you know,
ideology
regardless,
and your words are telling me that you're a conservative.
Yeah.
So I still ask
Okay,
you a
so
question, which is: Are you advocating for supply side economics?
so didn't I say yes in some context and no in some other? I feel like I gave you some ideas about what my positions on things are. Like,
Not really.
It's not really, man. You've just been kind of just debating around the point. Like it would be nice to know actually what your position is here.
I feel like so I like self-describe as like a neoliberal. I still consider myself left of center. I support a welfare state, but there are lots of other contexts in which I support some types of deregulation, some types of efficient tax codes that might be considered supply side, right? But like I don't care that much about what you call
that
me.
you just used a weird buzzword, the welfare state. So I
That's a
want to
buzzword?
know
Okay.
at what point do Democrats advocate for a welfare state?
Yeah, a lot of Democrats are in favor of increasing like SNAP spending. A lot of them were in favor of extending the ACA subsidies that like the big beautiful bill got rid of, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that the Democrats are in support of.
Basic essentials that people can't afford. Got it. So I'm talking about Democrats
Okay,
saying,
but-
I want people to be on welfare and I don't want them to work, because that's what you're saying. I don't
That's
hear
not what I'm
Democrats saying that at all.
I don't think
I don't
Democrats. I don't think Democrats say that, and I don't say that, and I still support a welfare state, right? But so this brings me back to an interesting point about the welfare state, okay, which is that I think essentially part of the reason why inequality measurements are murky is because of, for example, it's hard to account for government like welfare benefits within them. So Social Security on paper, if you don't include it in measures of wealth inequality, will actually increase wealth inequality. Having Social Security and having a welfare state will increase wealth inequality because people will save less because they know that in the future they can rely on government benefits, right? And that's not always a bad thing. I like welfare. I think it's good that people can get welfare and retire when they're old, right? But nonetheless, because they don't have like an individual retirement account, that's oftentimes not included in measures of wealth inequality. So measurements of wealth inequality are quite hard to do for that reason and a bunch of other reasons about the assumptions you make about like the discount rate and how hard it is to like measure accurately the wealth of the richest people in the world. So it is not.
It's
clear
actually
to me that,
hold on, wait a second, non-fun. It's actually very easy to determine the wealth of the richest people in the world.
Okay, so I don't think it is. I think it's pretty widely accepted it isn't because they hold a bunch of assets that don't have any value.
It's not widely accepted.
It's not widely accepted at all. My friend, we have the first world's trillionaire. Do you think that he just came up with that number? Did you think Elon Musk just woke up today and was like, "Hey guys, I'm a trillionaire"? You can't prove it, but I'm a trillionaire.
I mean, not exactly. But I think it.
So then hold on, wait. So hold on.
To assess the fair market value of SpaceX.
Dude, I'm gonna mute you if you're not gonna listen to me. So once again, if there's a way that we can determine that Elon Musk is a trillionaire, how do we do that? There's got to be a way, right?
Well, there's multiple ways. So there's multiple ways, and people disagree, right? So like.
I don't think people disagree, man. I think there's a pretty easy way to determine how much money they have.
Well, but they don't have like cash money, right? A lot of it's held up in assets that are hard to value.
Sure. So then you know what you can do? You can tax their unrealized gains. You know what? We do that right now with housing. Meaning if you own a home, you pay unrealized gains tax every single year through your property taxes.
Great. So
we can do the same thing with them.
Okay, so when you live in a home, you're consuming a flow of services over time. It's very hard to assess the value.
God, dude. Are we seriously just going to Philbro this? Seriously.
Is this a Phil? It's not a Philbro thing. So if you wanted to do
a Philbro thing, dude. You're just trying to avoid the point.
If you wanted to do a consumption tax on homes, it is probably not ideal to do a consumption tax on homes up front because number one, that would just be very...
We do it already, though.
No, in most places
we do it
they
all
don't.
right through property taxes, man.
Wait, but that if you're saying it's because the consumption tax is different than an unrealized gains tax, right?
It's still, once again, you are using property that you own, right? Or that you said temporarily you own because it's owned by a bank, technically speaking. You are consuming the resources on which that land sits on.
But yeah, so there's an element of property tax that's on, depending on how it's structured, it differs by state, obviously. But like some of property tax is going to fall on like the value of the home and the land. So like some of it
I
might
just
be
find
like
it
some
very
unrealized
strange,
gains.
man, that you're a
but
neoliberal.
Property tax also, there's the consumption value to homes. So by taxing, and it's better assessed every year because the consumption value of the home depends primarily like on the location of the home and the developments around it, right? So you don't want to impose a consumption tax on a home up front because one, that just be very high, because you have to, sell homes are very expensive.
Wait, don't you?
And then number two,
don't you
the
pay
consumption value of
taxes
the
when
home
you
will change?
Don't you pay taxes
over
on a
time.
property when you purchase it?
I think you pay some, but like I know, for example,
you pay quite a lot actually.
VATs,
you pay quite a lot.
VATs in European countries like don't apply to
We're not
homes.
talking about VATs, man. We're talking about the United States. Let's try and stay on topic here, please.
Okay. So I don't know off the top of my head like what states do or do not have like sales taxes on homes. I know for certain that like
I would say a good majority
in the
do.
UK. I don't know if that's the case.
I would say a good majority do.
But insofar as they do,
but even so,
then
you're still evading my point here, man. Why is it that we have to tax people that are making the bottom portion of the wealth in this country and just giving every tax incentive to those that are making 20 million times more than we are?
Okay. So I'm disputing number one that the property tax is best viewed.
You weren't
as
wait. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait a second. Hold on. We weren't talking about that topic. We were talking about billionaires we tax at 94%. So if you want to pivot to that, we can. But I really like you to answer that question.
What? Why?
Once again, why is it that we are taxing people in the lowest bracket of income earners the absolute most, but yet not giving that same sort of credibility and same level of taxation to the top 1% of income earners?
So I think that's just empirically not the case. That
it is
that
not
effective
it
rates.
is empirically the case, my friend.
So if you look
empirically
at
the case.
if you look at work from, for example,
Elon
David
Musk paid
Splinter,
0% in effective taxes last year. That is not the case.
So I'm not certain off the top of my head for Elon Musk, but for example, you can look at
You are though. If you're simping for him and other people that are like him, you are doing exactly the same thing. You're eating his lunch for him.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So if you look at,
carrying his water. You are carrying his water for him.
Yeah,
For
if you're up here
example,
defending Elon Musk, there's nothing liberal about you.
Wait, hold on. Do you guys also recognize that like the bottom percentage of people in America also get like a lot of welfare, right? And that's also included in the effective tax rate?
No.
Compared to, do you think Elon Musk gets more in welfare personally than in
terms of government subsidies? Yeah, sure he does.
Yeah, that was a question.
In terms of government,
no.
You
But
walked right into that one, my friend.
A lot of that is not his personal income, and I think it's unfair to consider like a lot of it like. So,
wait, hold on, wait a second. Wait, hold on, time out. It's not going into his personal pocket. I'll grant you that one. However, though, it is because when he gets government subsidies that go to his business and then they pay him a salary for said business or in the form of stock, even if I'll grant you that, it is going into his pocket. It's just going through. It's just exchanging another hand. That's it's a middleman.
There might be
and what
some
I'm talking
effect
about,
there, but
Elon Musk gets government contracts. He's getting paid directly by the government. Do you think that he made that government contract out of the kindness of his heart because he's just going to make those vehicles or whatever technology they want him to make, and he's not going to profit off of it? He didn't sell it to him at wholesale,
right?
Okay, so I think even there's a difference between like a welfare going to someone, like money going to someone's bank account, or them getting like a SNAP card, and someone whose company is like getting a contract or even a subsidy, which I think are also two different things.
I'd argue the subsidies are worse.
Okay,
I'd argue the poor person that's getting $100 every month on a bridge card is beneficial or is substantially not profiting as much as someone who's getting a government contract worth millions or billions.
Okay, but a government contract worth millions or billions isn't just like providing like nothing, right? Like,
what has Elon Musk done that has benefited society?
So I don't
That's a
give
great
Elon
question.
Musk like personally credit for a lot of this stuff, to be clear, but like a lot of the subsidies that Tesla got did lead to the creation of like high quality batteries. A lot of the subsidies that SpaceX got or
That
contracts that
directly
SpaceX
benefited
got,
him. That directly benefited him.
sure, but so for example, like SpaceX gets contracts from NASA, and like
And what does SpaceX do? Jack shit. They send rockets.
They send astronauts to the ISS, right? Like NASA pays them to send astronauts to the ISS.
Cool.
Previously,
we already had an organization that did that. It was called NASA.
Yeah, we didn't actually have that from after the space shuttle retired in 2011 up until 2021.
No.
I believe, when
we have
SpaceX...
done that ever since the jump, man. Ever since NASA was a thing. That's what we did.
So after the space shuttle retired, we did not have a way to get astronauts into space until SpaceX developed their Crew Dragon capsule. Okay, so
and you mean to tell me that NASA wouldn't have developed something like that at some point in time?
they could have, but I don't think they had plans to do so.
They could have. Interesting. Yeah,
but
I
probably,
believe they could
but
have.
probably
Maybe
we
if
have
we had
generally,
funded
but
them,
probably,
the most
probably we have reason to
brilliant-
believe, probably
the most brilliant
so,
minds in the most brilliant minds in the world. I'm just gonna mute you for a second, man. The most brilliant minds in the world, the most brilliant scientists in the world versus one ketamine addict.
Yeah, so I want to be clear. I don't give Elon Musk personally a lot of credit for this, right? Like I think,
But you are carrying his water for him, non-fun.
No,
You've been doing that
I'm
the
just
entire
saying-
time you've been up here.
So
You've been doing that
I'm
the
gonna-
entire time you've been up here.
that's not
No,
true.
some-
I don't give
some
Elon
of you
Musk
liberal you
personally
are.
a lot of
Non-fun,
credit for this,
seriously, hold on,
and I don't.
non-fun,
And
non-fun.
Elon Musk doesn't
Non-fun.
own the
I
majority of
gotta mute it,
SpaceX.
don't
Oh my
Thank you. I
god.
appreciate it. I'm not trying to mute anybody, but at the same
Same.
time, non-fun, I'm really trying to understand, are you trolling? Like, you say you're a liberal and then you come out with these conservative ideas, you simp for billionaires, you support supply side economics. Like, I am, like, are you having an identity crisis here? Because I'm not. I think you're a complete and total conservative.
Sure,
And that's okay if you are.
I mean,
We can have that discussion.
like I said, I don't really care what you call me. I think I self-identify as like a liberal
No,
Democrat.
I think you just
because
I think you
that's
just want to admit that to I think you should just admit that to yourself, man. I think it's okay.
Okay, great. Regardless, whatever. Like
No.
So
no,
my point
non-fun.
is simply that
I actually kind of want you to admit that to yourself. It's okay for you to say, "Hey, man, I'm just a conservative." It's okay. I say that I'm a
I don't
neoliberal just that way I can get up on
myself
liberal panels and try and like Philbro you. That's fine. I'm cool
I don't
with it.
consider
But, like,
consider
but
myself
just
a
be honest with
conservative in the
yourself.
American context. I don't consider. I think it'd be unfair for me to identify as a conservative. I think that presents a misleading picture of me to other people.
Well, it doesn't matter because the chat has spoken, my friend. We'll see you next time. Because the chat has spoken, my friend. We'll see you next time.
What?
What was that?
He was up on the stream last time. Non-fun, you can come back next for sure. But after a certain amount of taps, we move on to the next guest because there's tons of other people here that would like to.
What the fuck? Not fun's conservative. What's up, Roth Party? I didn't even get to my shit. I thought I would have more time. I'm glad that's over. What's up, Dylan? Welcome back. And Roth Party, welcome back. Ryan, welcome back. Isaac. Easy money, obviously. Oh, Synth in here. There's two of them interrupting you and they're muting you too. Should police it harder? Yeah, I don't know. You're gonna class them and they panicked? Yeah. I didn't even get to my stuff, bro. Oh my god. Obviously, Elon Musk captures some of this. So one, I think the fact that SpaceX is doing real stuff when they get government contracts, it was a pretty valuable thing SpaceX did when they made the Crew Dragon capsule that NASA contracted them to do, because we just after I think 2021 is when Crew Dragon capsule first flew humans. About how many bits for the shrimp welfare cost you? Not that many. And I give me what's up, Benjamin? I can't take it off, just waste of time. Yeah. I'll do it for what's $10 in bits? Or 2020, I think. But yeah, regardless, sometime around the first crewed flight launched on May 30th, 2020. Okay, so 2020. Oh, What's up?
Dude,
I saw you in the chat crashing out.
why the fuck are you letting these disgusting, cocky, ignorant, retarded fucking lefties walk all over you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I thought I'd have more time to do
You'll
stuff.
say something like, "Oh, most welfare goes to like poor people." Oh, what about like Elon Musk getting contracts?
Oh, yeah.
Should be put to death. You should be put down for that. You're a rabid dog. You should be killed for saying that. What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, no, these people, and he interrupts you every time to say the most retarded shit. How do you not get annoyed? How do you not get annoyed? Like, it makes me doubt you because, like, when I speak, I know that what I'm saying is valuable. So when someone interrupts me, I know they're preventing the world, they're depriving the world of a very valuable thing, which is my words. When you get interrupted, you don't care. Maybe you don't think what you're saying is worthwhile. Well, I'm here to help your self-doubt. It is worthwhile. Way more than this retard. The fuck? Dude. Ugh. And this fucking Gen X fucking boy slave fucking says, "Oh, by the way," okay, so this fucking retard will tell you, "Oh, dude, don't pivot because you want to talk about like how you measure wealth or something." And then the Gen X fucking like demented retard about breeding cavemen will say, "Oh, by the way, what percentage of wealth is the top 10% globally?" It's like, first of all, total pivot. Hello, host. Total pivot. Second, nigga, you're in the top 10% of global wealth. What the fuck?
Yeah, I should have made him go to the How Rich Are You like Life You Can Save website and like it made him.
No, but the thing is, these people will say their income. These people don't know how to measure their income. But that's another thing.
Probably.
It's like what you should do is you should be elitist and mad at them. So when they say you're a conservative, right? Like, just like state all your progressive positions like a virtue signal. But when they say something like, "Oh, dude, inequality, blah 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 blah," say, "Have you?" By the way, this is like a very studied, very hotly debated field in economics. Have you read a single thing ever on this? You should ask that. Make them feel shame. They can't feel shame. These people are like they've watched too many like fucking More Perfect Union videos. These people cannot feel shame. They will lie. They will distort the truth. But like, it's so. Oh man, I wanted to be next, but they picked someone else, and I'm not winning. But
damn.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
We should. You know what? I'm sick, so I'm like I have free time until Sunday. We should. We should pull up tomorrow.
We should.
Wait, are you streaming?
Yeah, do you not know that?
Are you streaming? Oh, I didn't know that. It's a call. It's a private call. Why the fuck are you?
Why would I not be streaming?
Because you were just on TikTok. Well, okay.
Well, you're gonna be canceled now. You're gonna be canceled now.
Call. I thought it was a private call, but now I am Synth, who famously Synth never said the N-word. Synth is just too pure. Yeah, but yeah. Now I'm Synth saying I N-blasted, which I did. It's so, dude, these people, man, I can't. These people make me mad. I apologize. I got momentarily. Yeah. No, but dude, how do you? Okay, I have to ask. I pulled up in the middle. When he says billionaires should be taxed at 94%, does he mean marginal or effective, or does he not know the difference?
He doesn't know the difference. I that was like the first thing I tried to go over of him. Right, is like I said, like I've heard you say, because last time I tried to talk to him, I heard him say that I say that because we used to do it before. So I came up and said, well, I think that was like the top statutory rate for a little bit, but the effective rate was much lower, even according to Piketty Suckman. but he was just like, I tried to go through the points afterwards because he like it was somewhat like contradicted himself because his argument is basically the effective rate was lower, but because they found all these like loopholes to invest in their business, right? They would invest in their business. They would give it to workers to avoid paying that
Yeah,
tax
that's so
rate,
true.
which
Income
like,
taxes are corporate tax rates. That's true. I
which
heard
yeah,
that.
which I think even I don't remember off the top of my head. The Dr. That article I think has some of the ways that they avoided it, and it's just like, they just
Yeah,
had
no,
like C
it wasn't
corps.
having to do with workers or something because it just had. First of all, a lot of these were not business owners. Like I'm pretty sure, was it Eisenhower who momentarily was applicable to that tax rate because he sold a book or something.
Mhm.
I forget. I forget. You've read that somewhere. Something in that vicinity, probably. No, but either way, like, yeah. Another thing to ask these people is like, okay, you love corporate taxes, by the way, one of the worst taxes. Ask them like, oh, do you know what incidence is? It's like, oh
Oh
no, why are you
yeah.
feeling it? Why are you feel bro? Why do you feel bro? And then you try to explain to them. It's like he interrupts you, dude. These people, these are, yeah. Now I have to self censor because it's not a private call. Dude, when I call you privately, it means that it's a private call. The fuck are you doing? It means you should shut
I
your
thought it was just
stream
because
off.
I wasn't in the stream room just because I was at a TikTok thing and didn't want
Well,
people
now
to
there's a
join.
clip of me saying the N word. How horrible is that? How horrible is that?
Well, I mean,
That was my full name, man. She can get me canceled. She can't do it in
it's
40
AI. It's
years.
AI. It could have been, I got an AI shrimp on my stream, probably
Uh,
someone just made it say that. It runs on Grok too, so it can actually say the N word, which
uh,
I should not have told chat because now they're going to try to make it do that. But
I'm gonna make it do that. No, but either way. Oh my god, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And then it's like it also bounces off of so many topics. One of the
Mhm.
least productive ones is explaining stock buybacks.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my god, the amount of times I just had
Oh,
a conversation
dude,
with someone
it
like
was
that.
so it was crazy. They're like trying to mute me and stuff. They're like, "Can you just answer the question? Can you just answer the question? Do stock buybacks just buying the stock make the price go up?" And it's like, okay, well,
Oh, but
it's not.
someone's buying it. But someone is not buying it. Right?
It's like,
Someone's buying. And then you ask them a minute later, and it's like, well, someone is selling, so it would go down. And it's
yeah,
like,
it's like,
oh, but if the number of purchases is equal to the number of sales, right? And he's like, are you Phil broing me?
are
Are
you
you
film
Phil
throwing me?
broing?
Yeah,
Dude, that sounds like a Phil bro. Dude, these people are rabid dogs, dude. What the fuck? I don't think they should be put down. I said that because I knew I was on stream, so I was playing it up. But I think these people should. What the fuck? How do you talk to someone like that? Really, it's like lacking so much, but it's like so confident. It's when you talk to MAGA about like, you've seen the tweet where it's like there are like 107 million illegal immigrants in the country. How do you
yeah.
talk to someone who believes
It's
that? How do you talk to someone who believes that? Yeah, at some point you don't, right? Some
mhm.
point someone is just a cattle. So they're like cattle for MAGA. These people are cattle for like labor unions. Okay, you're cattle. You're not worth my
True.
time. You should consult my rabbi on this. No, but and then like explaining Social Security, I think, and you know this, you're like, they're dumb, so you're trying to explain to them advanced stuff like, oh well, including Social Security would increase it, or excluding it would
Yeah,
increase
no.
inequality. They don't know. They don't know what you're saying. In their mind, you're saying Social Security bad, Social Security bad, and then they're like, oh wait, I've read that Social Security might go insolvent. That's Republicans. Wow, thank you,
It's
dude.
like,
Really. I've said this many times. It's Pavlovian. You know the Pavlov's dogs, right? Like they hear a bell and they
yeah.
think food, right? Like you don't. It's correlation in there. It's a Markov chain. Okay, they're in one state, and then like there's some random process, and they're in another state. It's not like these people are robots. They don't have a consciousness. You can do whatever to them. Okay, what the fuck? What the fuck? No, that was endlessly frustrating. Whatever. Whatever. No, we should. I should try to talk to them. I'm sure it will be productive. Yeah, I don't know.
It's frustrating. I
Yeah,
offered
another
to
thing.
because the last time or yesterday I tried to go on and he asked if I was 21. I didn't see the 21 plus only, and I was like, no, I'm 20, and he was like, I gotta be 21. And I DM'd him afterwards and was like, hey, you should like like come on my stream, like I can do a TikTok live, or you can just like, we can chat over like Discord or something. It was like, you can just lie. But maybe I should have insisted on the Discord or like Google Meet or something, so I wouldn't just be like muted and just stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I don't know. I'm 23. I'll avenge you. And I'll be mean. I'll be mean. No, but yeah, okay, so I joined roughly like a minute before the buybacks talk. What were you talking about beforehand?
Just basically effective rates. The chain was like effective is different than statutory rates, and he was confused about that. We talked about that for a bit, and then it was like, oh well, having the high. His argument was like, okay, people paid a lower effective rate because they reinvested all the money back in their business. And I was like, okay, well, if actually I just like don't think that's true. And then also I think like insofar as you're kind of distorting decisions there, it's not clear to me why that would be efficient. You're probably, you're not like.
Wait, what do you mean it wouldn't be more? It's more investment, dude. More investment.
It's more investment. I know. And I should have. I don't know why I tried to explain to him like how a DBCFT wouldn't distort decisions over investment, because it's like it probably was not. It's not worth doing that. But he didn't understand about that. But then he said like I forget exactly what I said before it, but he was like, oh, I want all those loopholes to be closed. And it's like, okay, but the quote unquote loopholes are the thing that you're saying is good because you're saying it's good that they try to avoid the tax by reinvesting. But like if you try to close those loop, like I don't understand like what we're doing here.
Yeah. I joined the live when I heard you say China, like or like we have evidence of CEO pay stuff. And then I want to close these loopholes, my friend. Like it's so cocky. It's like a dog. It's like a dog. There's no sentience. Dude, what the fuck? Yeah. Yeah, and when I said the N-word, I meant white people are really the real N-words, I think. It's not even racist. It wasn't even racist. Yeah. Yeah. Also, it should be seen as like shameful when you just pull up someone else in the conversation without like acknowledging that it's a 2v1 now or something, or affording the guest more time instead of less time and more interruption. I don't know, but that's like, we're so far removed from that. Right now we need to explain to the person what marginal means. It's like, yeah. Well, will he come on your stream, or
did you see
is he gonna scoot?
Last night, by the way, I was talking to some like Marxist guy or whatever. There's got to be a better way to explain this. Basically, I don't think I'm making a mistake actually, but like I said, like, co-ops probably have some incentive to underhire people because a firm, like your traditional firm, doesn't have to dilute ownership. They only have to pay a wage, versus the co-op is going to have to dilute ownership and, pay a salary / at least, hand over some portion of each quarter as profits. So like the marginal, you're going to hire the traditional firm is going to hire the marginal worker. The co-op is not going to hire the marginal worker. But he just like couldn't, he like couldn't understand that. And it was this, I don't know what's a better way to.
Okay, think about it like this. What's the equation that firms are trying to maximize? Well, it's profit.
Yeah.
What's the equation that co-ops are trying to maximize? It's profit for the workers. There's worker in the denominator. And when a company hires you, the profits go up the same, whether it's a co-op or a worker, they work the same. But in the co-op case, now you divide by one more, right? So it's just like, I don't know. Someone cannot understand that math. They might that explains why they're a Marxist, I guess. No, but it's mixed. It's not like they, you have general evidence, like there was the evidence from I want to say Venezuela, and there's also Yugoslavia, and all the fucking regions with a lot of co-op in Spain and Italy, and the evidence is mixed there. But at the end of the day, it's just like, well, you can advocate for God. There's not the empirics to say, we should mandate them for everyone forever. Like, that's so dumb. You're so dumb. Why? You watched like two Vosh videos like 4 years ago. Like, why are you talking to me? Yikes. No, but yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm just thinking, yeah, why not fun? I kind of call you out if it's on stream. You're talking to someone who doesn't know what marginal and effective means, doesn't know what stock and flow is, doesn't know like the difference between an income tax and a corporate tax. And you're trying to talk about DBCFT, bruh. You're trying to
Yeah.
talk about like social security inclusion and inequality and how that like actually shows there was no wealth inequality increase. What are we doing? They're not gonna read Catherine and Miller 2025. They're not gonna read that paper. They're not reading 2024. They're not doing that. They're watching a More Perfect Union video. And if you send them The Economist, they're gonna call you like petite bourgeois or something.
Yeah, they're
Well,
gonna. What's the Lenin quote about it?
yeah. The only newspaper for millionaires or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah. I don't know. By the way, the white people are the N-words. Since told me to say that, so that was inadvertently since being racist. So now
Since that
everyone
said
know.
he said goodbye or they said goodbye Whitey in my chat, so I think that's evidence of them being racist as well against white people.
Wow.
Honestly.
Wow. That's terrible. And you're on Twitch too. He's trying to like take you down.
Oh dang, that's true.
That's so sad. That's so sad. Didn't Hassan get banned for saying cracker or something?
I think yeah, it might not have been its on, but
That
Twitch
happened, like,
did.
3 years ago.
They didn't like
Oh yeah,
that.
somewhere. Yeah, that's right. No, but yeah. What else is there to talk about, really? I mean, like exciting new econ papers, but no one's
Yeah, I
reading
don't
them. Everyone's watching EPI sloth. Everyone's following the White House on Twitter. Everyone's listening to American Compass. No one's listening to the Center for New Liberalism.
I don't know.
We're
According to JD
it's over.
Vance, as Christian values left America, economics stepped into the vacuum. It's just such a crazy,
Ooh,
it's such a
true.
fucking crazy sentence in the book, bro.
Welcome back, Max Weber. Welcome back. No, but yeah. Yeah. Just read Tibor Rutar, okay? He had a new
That's true.
Hinkle.
That's true.
No, not Hinkle. Hickle. He had a new Hickle post today, so
Oh,
that's
damn.
good,
I didn't
right?
see that.
That's good.
I was
Oh
at
yeah. It's
work.
about
I was busy
about
being
unequal
employed,
exchange.
a wage slave.
Yo. Yeah.
Bro, I
Yeah.
met the fucking the executive vice president of fucking Sheets. I met Adam Sheets himself. I thought it was the CEO
Whoa.
because someone said he was the CEO, but I think they were just joking because afterwards I looked it up and he's like not the CEO, but he's close.
Whoa. He was like,
I know.
Mr. Fawn, you're doing incredible work.
He was like, yeah,
Want to be CEO.
the non-fun 420. Oh my god, working at my company.
Whoa. And then tell him like all the stuff you know about like CEO pay from all the studies. That'd be awesome. I'm sure he's interested. What were you talking to him or what was happening?
I mean, I like shook his hand. It just they were doing some like quality. Johnny Sheets. You know what's crazy is that the founder of Sheets is named. I think it's like Bob Sheets, and he has brothers named fucking. They're like all the like standard male names. It's crazy. I think one of them probably is named John. But it was my first. So I've done like I've done 3 days of training at the training store. Like they have a store where the like all the employees there are trainees. And this is my first day, my practical day, they call it, at like at the regular store I'm gonna work at, and my fucking first day there, Adam Sheets shows up. I gotta be prepared to talk to Adam Sheets, bro. But it was fine. He didn't even stay for that long. Plus, I'm a awesome worker. I'm so good at making
Yeah.
milkshakes and
No, keeping you're really good at generating value and then getting
Yeah.
it the surplus value extracted. This is what happens when you get born in the imperial core. You get exploited, but you're also in the labor aristocracy. You're in
Yeah.
the labor aristocracy because you're a part of the top 10% of wealth, which is 67% of total wealth. They own it. Dude, I'm traumatized. I'm brain PTSD. I'm brain raped by fucking popular. Yeah, it's over. We're never getting liberalism back. It's over. It's over. Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know. Well, what are you gonna do on stream? I guess.
I have a surprise topic panel in like 30 minutes. I don't really know what. Well, I don't know what it is. I was just invited a while ago by some guy. He said, "I'm not going to say the topic. I'm not going to say who's going to be there, but you don't want to miss it."
What?
And I just said yes.
Oh, by the way, Dispel. I don't know if it was because of that, but he's not in the Pisco server anymore for some reason.
Damn.
Because I think it was because on Twitter Dan Saltman called him out for like doxing people, which I think is wrong. You should not dox people. I think.
Wow. Even Hitler?
I think doxing people. Yeah, even Hitler. Even Adolf Hitler. Oh, I just doxed him. Ooh, that's right. That's right. No, but yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go understand how Scott Winship has his own price index because it confirms our
Oh, yeah.
priors. But I want to understand. I want to understand what he did. He bless his soul. Okay, he always like what do you call productively interacts with people on Twitter, and he
Mhm.
likes my responses. So what a great soul. What a great
He's a cool
soul.
dude.
Yeah. 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 Well, okay. Before I go, Oren Koss
Mhm.
or um or hard to think of someone worse than Oren Koss. Robert Reich.
as president or like
No, you gotta like you gotta watch only their content for a month.
Oh man, I think Robert Reich because I feel like it's I don't know, it's just gonna be the same stuff I'm used to hearing so often, and like it's just gonna it's just so easy. It's just so easy. It's so easy, so easy.
Yeah. 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 Okay, well, talk to you later. Okay. And next time, listen, next time, I'm not racist. Just when I call you in private and I don't join the stream room, it means that I don't know you're on stream. You know how I always call you for the most random shit? Like, dude, not fun. You got to answer. Dude, this guy gave a like to my Substack comment, dude.
I
Dude,
do.
we're winning.
Yeah.
You know how I do that? You
Yeah.
know how I do that? Yeah. You think that's something I want to say on stream? Yeah, no.
Probably
No.
not.
It is. That's right. How's your cat before I go?
He's good. I don't know if he's in my room right now, but he's as fat as ever. He's loving life. He's such a chud.
Well, tell your cat I said hi. Tell your cat I said hi.
Will
Okay,
do.
next time I'm in North Carolina, I'm visiting Sheets, but the one you're not working in. Okay,
Fuck
so I want to
you.
be unbiased. What? What? You know what? Fine. I'll give it like 5 stars. I'll give it 4 stars.
Let's go.
The food might not be good.
I mean, it's gas
Okay,
station
well,
food.
yeah.
See ya.
Well, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye. Okay, see now let me be. Now I'm in the stream room. Hold on, there's a silly picture of my cat. I gotta find it real quick, guys. Hold on, I gotta find. Do I not have it backed up? Oh god damn it. It might not be backed up. Whatever. I have a picture of me and my cat that you guys can't see. I just realized. Give me your employee discount for Velos. I do get a the Sheets benefits are nice. I'm in VC. Oh, give me a second, North. I get 50% off of stuff like while I'm working. Like if you're on break, you get like 50% off, and also you could probably just steal shit. Like I mean, not like no one's gonna stop you from if you're an employee filling your self-serve shit up and just taking it, right? Pretty sure I've seen people, other employees do that. Okay, but regardless, and then I get like 10 cents off every gallon of gas, and then I get 10% off everything when I'm not working. What up? Oh, he's deafened. Incredible.
Hello, hello.
What's up?
I got blue balled on your last stream.
Did you? What?
Yeah, you had CDA Hassan Piker in your stream title and covered it.
Oh, about the didn't we call after my last stream? Like,
Oh no, that was like after. I meant like on stream. I was
Oh.
watching your stream, but I was like,
hold on,
where's-
didn't you literally say after? Down north will say the N word. Frozen
No.
space. You do sound. I'm assuming you're door dashing right now.
I am door dashing. Hold on, give me one moment to fix my mic. You know, all right, hello. Is this better?
I guess, yeah.
Marginally better. Okay, we'll deal with it.
You're louder. It still kind of sucks, but it's good enough.
It still kind of sucks. What the fuck is going on? I hate this so much.
It's fine.
This is as good as it's gonna get. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this right here? Okay. Yeah, the college Democrats, Hassan Piker, they're fucking up. They're fucking up the Democratic Party. Kind of sucks.
I know. Did you see? I haven't
What do you
watched it yet. I don't think I'm gonna watch it on stream. But Hassan talked to Hassan, Mehdi Hassan.
When Hassan talked to Mehdi Hassan, oh no.
Yeah.
What did they talk about? When was this?
I think it came out like earlier today or maybe yesterday at this point.
Boy.
But they talked about a lot of things. Hassan talked about his trip to China and the investigation.
His subpoena
his
by the
Cuba.
federal government.
Yeah, his Cuba thing.
Yeah, I 100% think that he's being funded by foreign governments.
Maybe, Ryan.
Like, there's
Maybe.
very little doubt in my mind. You would need to show me evidence in the opposite direction.
That he, what? Got funded by
By like
Russia?
foreign governments,
Or-
like either like China, probably like China or like the Cuban government. would
You don't
be
think
my guess.
he's willing to do it just for the aesthetic, just for the grift?
I mean, maybe, but like I don't think he's the type of person to like deny funds that they were like offered to him. So
It's already loaded. He's got money.
oh god. Oh my gosh. My customer says to meet outside the apartment thing, but then they aren't here.
Wow.
Yeah, shit sucks. Anyway, yeah, it's Son Piker is ruining so much of our politics right now. I hate it so much. You gotta be more active, not fun. You gotta be
I
start
was
quote
just
tweeting.
debating lefty people. I mean, not like about Hassan or anything exactly, but about lefty
You
stuff.
gotta join the good fight, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I'm working on it.
look, next time you gotta come to DC with us. That would have been fun.
Oh, I know, I should have. My FOMO triggered once I started seeing the selfies of everyone there. It's like I fucking.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of people here. It was great.
I know. I'll go if everyone else is going next year, which I'm assuming they will. I'll go next year. I'm not that far from DC, so
Yeah, it was like a 8-hour drive for me. So
I think I'm like
I think
5
people
hours
are
away. But
are
it'd
thinking
just be annoying. Well, now that I have a job, it wouldn't be as bad. But it'd just be annoying because I'd have to pay for a hotel for a few nights, and then the tickets are.
It was cheaper for me because I was sharing with Darius, but I don't know
sure.
if you want to go through that experience. All right, I don't know where this customer is. I think I'm gonna have to go and call them.
Yeah,
Are you
got a
gonna go to
panel in
TwitchCon?
like a few minutes. Probably not. Isn't TwitchCon in like California?
It is in California. Yeah.
Yeah, I think less people would go to that I care about, and
Well,
it's just
we'll keep
further away.
we'll keep in touch. If SL Fighters going there, then maybe.
Then you'll sabotage him. Clip it. Put it
No,
on
no
Twitter.
sabotage.
Put it
I'm
on
here to
Twitter.
ask him a question. I'm here to ask him a question. What's so wrong about
I
asking
bet
him a
about-
question about
I bet
Israel
about
Palestine?
the brothels he's visited.
Yeah, I want to know how if he checked her ID or not. You know.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go. Have a good night.
Okay.
Have
Wow.
fun.
North is
I
running
know.
away. Non-fun. Those people piss me off so bad. Non-fun.
Mhm.
Ooh wee. Yeah. No. You probably should. I mean, I already said this in chat, but when you're dealing with the like really interruption heavy type people, it's like mandatory to point it out, even if you like don't like if you think it's gonna sound like whiny or something. It's still good for their audience to be like prompted on looking for the fact that they're gonna constantly interrupt, and it'll do more
Yeah.
damage to their little rhetorical style, which is like two people interrupting one person constantly. That should make me I was raging out. I'm kind of seething.
Yeah, of course you would say that, Phil Bro, debate lord.
That
Yeah.
oh my god, Phil Bro is the. I shouldn't say that. I'm not gonna sample text myself. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I would have more time, and usually I start out nicer, but yeah, I should have been meaner. I might talk to them again later. If I do talk to them again, I'm gonna try to make it a conversation over like Discord or something, but we'll see.
Make it a gotcha fest. Many times they ask you one of those super little gotcha questions. Answer with as little material as possible. Say like instead of giving the nuanced answer, just be like, sometimes, then immediately rocket out a gotcha question of your own. They're pieces of shit. They're not gonna know how to deal with it.
Maybe that's goated. Yeah.
Non-fun. Do you believe in God?
I'm fairly agnostic on it. I don't know. I hear sample text talking about the Bayesian disputes about the fine tuning stuff. My brain hurts. I think the anthropic argument has some force. I think there's some versions of the fine tuning argument that have some force. Other than that, I don't find a lot of the other things particularly compelling. And then I think there are just like certain, I do think like the problem of evil and like divine hiddenness like has some force as well. So I'm fairly agnostic on it. I think I would still, just because I like watched too much Alex O'Connor and Genetically Modified Skeptic as a kid, I think I would still like lean atheist, but I'm close to 50-50, I think.
Has sample text ranted to you yet about axiarchism?
Maybe you'd have to explain it.
So the short idea of it is like you can view it as like an atheist rival hypothesis to theism that you can use to get all of the explaining that they want their little theistic hypothesis to do out of an atheistic one. So no matter what argument they're bringing up, be it like the anthropic reasoning or be it fine tuning, which are like, I mean, the fine tuning is really the only good one, and the anthropic argument isn't like the most embarrassing thing in the world, but it's kind of just a variant of fine tuning. As background, when Bentham's Bulldog wanted to publish the anthropic argument in a journal, instead of saying this is evidence for God, it was amended to be evidence for God or axiarchism or a multiverse. So the axiarchist idea is like, instead of it being God, just imagine God minus the mental properties. So instead of it being like, say you have an all good God, the standard axiarchist view is like, okay, well imagine there's a goodness force in the universe. It's not all knowing or all powerful. It's not perfect. It's just enough so that we get to fine tuning. If you think that the goodness of God is what gives us fine tuning, well, imagine basically the goodness of God minus the mental stuff. So instead of it being a mind that created the universe, a God, instead of that, it's just a goodness force. And so because it's a slightly more stripped down hypothesis, it's a little bit better on parsimony. And because of the fact that it has the same explanatory value in terms of the evidence it predicts, that just means you have a better hypothesis, all things considered. So the axiarchist view is reasonably, the axiarchist view is something that gets you a better view than the theistic alternative. And on top of all of that, that just kind of like gives you a one of many views that you can say might be true under atheism. And you could still then at that point have like a really, really low chance of atheism being true, and you don't have to be agnostic. You could be an atheist.
Wow, sweet. I like the sound of that.
Right. Love atheism. You're probably doing something else in your stream. I just wanted to admit.
I think I don't know exactly what I'm expected to do, because this guy said he's going to do a presentation before the thing starts, and I don't know if he wants me to stream the presentation or not. I don't know what the presentation is, but we'll see.
Who's doing a presentation?
I don't think you're going to know him or anything, but Re-Examination, he's like a YouTube streamer dude.
Are you debating this guy or something?
I don't really know what I'm doing. I am
He's gonna drag you in. He's gonna like lecture for an hour. That makes sense. Well, many things are mysteries in the world, non-fun. You'll have to figure out eventually. Until next time.
True. Okay. I appreciate it. Oh, damn. He's not streaming a presentation. I did want to ask if I could stream the presentation. He did not reply. So I'm low-key just going to stream the presentation. Dude, I don't know what this country is. 206 million, and it's like only petroleum. Those are some good cats. Those were your cats. They're very nice, South Rama. And it's 12,000 kilometers east of or west of Bahrain. It might be like a fucking island nation, but but they have like fish and stuff. Oh man, bro, I don't know the Caribbean nations here. One of the saints. Or maybe it's just, but Guyana and Suriname would have way more than 206 million, right? What about French Guyana? Is that a that's not a thing here. I'm gonna go with that to hammer, because I don't know what that is. But what's the most dishonest socialist you debated? Yeah, it's hard to say. Okay, he said yes, sir. Sweet. They might be, because I feel like some of the other people I might consider like more just like misinformed and like cringe and stuff, versus these people were like a lot more, they're at least a lot more like bad faith, I think. Okay. Let me set this up. Okay, join studio. F11. Then I do that. I don't know if it's going to be, so I might have my screen, I might not. So what are you saying on the left of Twitch politics meltdown? Are you supporting Hassan and the CCP Mal lovers or Destiny and his teachers who got kicked out of their college teammates? From the stuff I have seen, it seems like they were unfairly kicked out of the meeting. I've not seen anything to suggest that they had said or done anything sufficient to warrant them being removed when they had they'd all purchased a ticket. We're part of the unaligned movement here. I mean, I am very much a, best tweet I ever made. My opinions on optimal healthcare policy differ from those of Hassan Piker. Best tweet I ever made. That is what Hassan called him at the event. And the unaligned movement were somewhat more favorable to one side than the other. I obviously I'm definitely much closer to Destiny's community, and I'm definitely much closer to Destiny's position, but I don't really care to frame my view through that.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Cool. So I'm just figuring out that this is not like StreamYard in the sense of there's not a nice backstage lounge where you can just hang out and see each other and
Oh, yeah.
So it's just
Damn.
you come in and it's a flat screen and you're in the waiting room and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's lame. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. I'm gonna notify everybody else that.
Sweet.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. How have you been doing?
Good. I'm very intrigued, and I'm sure everybody else will be very intrigued about what this is going to come to.
You're intrigued.
Stream.
No one else knows it. No one else knows anything. How are you intrigued?
I am intrigued because this is going to be. Here, give me a second. It's going to be. I like seeing people's reactions to big news and huge things myself. I'm just hitting up people. No, let's see, what do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's all. All right, let's see if I can.
Like I said, I got no clue
All
what
right,
this.
so
What is it going to be?
in any moment. We got 10 minutes until then. What you
All
been
right.
up to? Any big streams coming up? Any debates?
I guess not especially big. I think the next debate I have planned is on Saturday. I'm talking to some socialist guy, but I might end up talking to some people I just spoke to again before then. Hopefully, we'll see.
Sure. Yeah.
They ran from me. They kicked me off.
Molinism coming up. So.
On Molinism? The hell is that?
So in Christian theology, there is this hackneyed attempt at stabbing out the Reformation by Catholics called Molinism, and what it is the idea that God would never violate your free will, and so what he does is he calculates based on all the possible worlds that he could create that accommodate the free will creatures that he would create. So it's kind of like he would say, okay, what are the things free will creatures would do in any given universe, and he calculates the counterfactuals to see, okay, in what universe would I either save the most people or I would the most good would be achieved or something like that. It doesn't really tell you which universe he's trying to calibrate for, but yeah. So, yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, we got Zillzone's going to be up in a sec. Missing Mod is typing. Missing Mod and I had some differences today because, as per usual, streams beget drama unintentionally. Been talking to Pisco ever since that one debate against Malali and Gen Z lawyer.
I mean, I think I've spoken to him since then, but not especially, I guess. Actually, have I? I don't actually know if I've been in a VC with him or anything since then, but I've interacted with him since then.
You're breaking up a little bit. Am I breaking up with you? Or no?
Oh, no.
Here we go.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Zillzone, how you doing?
Yo, testing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Nice suit, dude.
Thank you.
Nice, dude. What's up, Non-Fawn?
What's up? Not much.
I'm here for the mystery and the stream.
All right. Unfortunately, Riverside isn't cool like StreamYard. So...
Rex, you clean up nice, dude. Why do you look so
Thank you.
awful the rest of the time? No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Because I don't clean up at all.
Ah!
I'm such a filthy pig. Such a
No,
filthy,
no.
rotten animal. So
I'm
Zillzone
just-
is actually the guy I'm going to be debating on Molinism. I was telling him about the debate coming up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, of course, I have Reformed Baptist, as some people would call it, Calvinist compatibilism, where you got free will and destination working simultaneously.
Yeah, there's nuances we got to get through.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But both of them aim at predestination and free will being reconciled within a certain understanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zillzone,
well-
you're going to make me wear contacts after I keep looking at you, and then my eyes are like, my corneas are splitting, just trying
Oh
to
my
find your
goodness.
face in there.
Oh my goodness. Pattern recognition problems.
Well, we're
Sorry.
going to go live at 10 regardless, but I'm going to have a bit of a speech at the beginning, just kind of to fill everybody in.
Okay, cool.
Where are the peoples? It's funny. You try and organize a herd of cats, and this is what happens.
Yeah. Did notifications already go out? I'm sure they did.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Well, people might trickle in. You have
Yeah.
something prepared ahead of time anyways, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably preparing somewhat for this. Herding
For some
cats.
time, in some ways. Yeah, no, people in general are... Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Re-examination, you're quiet. You're quite a bit quieter than Zillzone. I don't know why. Yeah.
Either he's quiet or I'm loud. Looks like I'm redlining a lot. So
Let me see. Okay. Check my input. Weird.
That seemed to be
Thanks for letting me know ahead of time, though.
that seemed to be louder. Yeah.
Oh, louder now?
Yeah. Sounds
I
like
didn't
it.
do anything. So it might be some software-based
Oh, what?
stuff going on.
I'm not crazy, Zillzone. He's louder now, right?
I'm not sure.
H. Pingro, recognize this guy over here to my side here?
I do. Of course.
Am I really soft?
No.
Am
I
I
don't know.
quiet?
Are you a punk?
Sorry, volume level.
Oh, okay. No.
All right,
Volume
wonderful.
sounds fine.
All right, we'll give it 4 minutes. Things have been kind of weird too, because I tried to put a poll in the
I don't know. It's got to be just for the aesthetic, right, Sim?
chat here, and the poll seemed to have malfunctioned. Oh, Now here we got. Okay. First it was pretty spicy winning, and now it's burn your lower jaw off spicy winning.
Yes.
This is a doxing threat also. That's what I'm hearing.
Because I was like, you guys have some weak English style palates if that's what you're trying to bring to the table. Oh my gosh.
Oh boy, who's here? Aiden, Robin, Chap, and Mod? Oh my goodness.
Told you bring who's a cringe nerd. Will do. If I can untap.
Yep.
Chapingro, you have a bit of background noise, a little bit. Just heads up.
He's on.
Yeah, it does sound like there's a fan or something.
Oh, you have. Okay, you're on a plane.
Rev Russ.
Wait, is he?
No, let me. Sorry, I don't normally do audio, so like, let me hop out and hop back in, see if that does anything. Otherwise, if you guys have any suggestions to me.
You would just do. I mean, it's not that you would just do a push to like a push to talk or whatever. I don't know if Riverside has that built in or if you would have to manually do it, but.
I mean, for me it's fine, but you know, everybody's balance on their computer is different.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. I mean, it's not like it's not horrible or anything. It's just background noise. Yeah.
Is everybody else hearing non-fun crackling, or is that just me?
He's coming in a little crackly.
Yeah, that could be. My bad.
Got snap, crackle, and pop as your AV guys.
Cables, always causing problems. Oh, cables.
Okay, is it better now? Hopefully.
Yes, now you're all good.
Yippee.
Yippee skip.
Stupid technology. Technology's always ruining things.
Wish I knew, Brandon. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you as of now. It's a mystery. It's a surprise.
All right, 1 minute left. We'll just jump right in on time because that's how it goes. All right, and we're just going to go live. It is 10 o'clock. We got half the panel. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the Reexamination Show. I'm going to kick it off with a little bit of a speech here to give some context and clarity. We have just over half the panel now that Aiden Linden has showed up. We got Chapingro from the world of Ryan Mullally. We got Rev Russ from the world of Speakeasy. We got Nonfon from the world of Nonfon. And Zilzone likewise. Here.
Thought I was gonna say Destiny. We did a voice.
Because I am still a boomer and I can't figure out when to turn off all my tabs.
Coming to us live from the local Kroger, it's Zilzone, ladies and gentlemen.
Shut up, Aiden!
Sorry, the local Kroger bathrooms.
Right, coming to you live from the truck stop. It's Aiden. Okay.
Hey, I'll have you know, it's a Buc-ee's. Thank you very much. So it's very upscale.
Okay, here we go. All right, there we go. When you're a big boomer like me, you need multiple tabs open to distract yourself when you go live.
Let me have Subway Surfer here on the side. No, that's more Zoomer. My bad.
For real.
No women on this panel, said Robin Webster. Well, I mean, it's not that they weren't invited, but we are waiting still at this point. Let's take a look. If not, there may be.
Do they know? Do they know that I got pickle right now?
It's the truth. We'll give it a few minutes, but yeah. You know what? While we're waiting, and we have less going on, let's go into the speech. And I didn't really prepare it as organized as I could, but let's go about here. Let's go about it this way. So tonight is kind of the you didn't invite me. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to close the chat so you guys. I love it. I love talking to the chat, but you know. Actually, I did invite you. I invited you to the chat.
Shut up, Peanut Gallery. Rex is giving a speech.
I'll send the stormtroopers in. Anyway, so tonight is kind of the culmination of what was the beginning of this channel, really. I started this channel October 5th, 2025, to kind of reinforce my appearance with the Andrew debates from Modern Day Debate, the Andrew versus 5 panel. And ever since then, it's been really cool to see how the channel has grown, and I've hit on a bunch of varieties of different topics, and there's been just a lot of stuff going on, meeting friends along the way, getting to know different people. Sorry, I think I'm hearing voices and knocking. Trying to see if these notifications are people coming into the panel. I hope to have... this is one of those times where I should write my speech out. But basically, it is a huge night because for a long time, if you've been looking at the thumbnail for this stream, you will see that there is a clue theme, and you see different cards laid out. The theme that I'm trying to bring to bear is the fact that there were many shorts that came in my channel that were indicating what was going to come up. And only one guy kind of noticed that something was up, and that was Bill Hicks, or I guess he goes by Shill Bix these days. But what has happened recently is I have gotten my hands on a copy of the fourth and final, never before seen, never before published debate between myself and Andrew Wilson. So, tonight, I would like to play that, and then as a panel, we can go through some questions and comment on it. So, uno momento, por favor.
Let's go.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Re-examination did not disappoint with the topic for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready? Strap yourselves in for a non-stop thrill ride here on Re-examination. Sorry, go ahead.
Nice. Hype man. He's going to send you an invoice later.
Only $274.
Am I supposed to be hearing stuff? I don't hear stuff. Yeah.
Not yet.
Hold up.
He's talking. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to be hearing. Yeah.
Disaster. All right. Give me a sec. So you can't hear any of that. None of you can hear any of that.
No.
When it was... No.
Interesting. All right. We'll try a different way then.
We're gonna need some American Sign Language subtitles for that video.
For real.
Unfortunately.
All right. All right. A sec.
We could have that, like, you know, when they do a news broadcast and they have that person on the side that does all the ASL, and then, like, every once in a while somebody gets caught totally faking that.
If you're
God, I wish
using
that was me.
If you're using Chrome, make sure that tiny little checkbox for also share tab audio is checked. If
No, I'm using Brave.
I am too. Same
Nerds.
Same checkbox. Okay.
Yeah.
Use Chrome like a good consumer. Come on.
All right.
Yep.
What? Okay, Zill. What do you want me to do?
It says also share tab audio or also share system audio if you're using a window, or if you're using a Brave tab, look beneath the tab window. It should say also share tab audio.
Ah, got it. Cool. All right. Take two.
Let's go.
All right. Let's go.
Oh, Mod is
again.
backstage.
I understand why Rex is in his suit now. He's actually about to pull out a Men in Black style neuralizer and make us forget
Right.
the last 6 minutes and
Just
34
forget the screw
seconds.
up.
Well, at least Zill's wearing his shades.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
At least.
All right, we'll do a quick
guys.
we'll do a quick sound test. All right, ready? Does that work?
No, but you're not sharing stuff, right? Also, your microphone, it could just be me, but now your microphone's sounding like crackly. It might just be my side. I don't know.
Shoot. Okay. I'm probably just gonna have to like go to the raw video then, or something like that through a Windows. Because I was trying to use Caden Live, which is the video editor, but I wonder if I share the entire screen, if it's gonna work. That might be the video.
Sit tight, suckers.
All this build up. Entire screen. Okay.
The audio was crashing. Thank you very much, Rob.
Okay. We see
All
it.
right. We'll do an audio test.
Nope. Well, maybe it's quiet.
No audio, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, fine. We'll exit out of that.
I could
And
do
then
the
I'll just do
voices
it
for
through
you.
Windows Media Player. Say what?
I'll just read the script and do an Andrew Wilson impression, and then you can be yourself, and then that's how we'll.
It'll be
that's how we'll
radio
communicate
theater.
it. Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Why
Maybe
is
Zell
that
could play
wrong?
remix.
Why is that wrong? Why is that bad? Just say that a bunch of times and you got him.
I'll take my $20,000 from Patreon now. Thank you very much.
All right, we're gonna let people in here. Leah Bobia and Missing Mud, you make up the women quota on the channel now. Now Robin can stop throwing a fit. No.
Let's go DI.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Woo!
Yeah.
Hey, you guys.
We got our DI hires. What's up?
Can you guys hear me? Is
Yeah,
it
we
coming
can hear
through?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. Awesome. Let's try something along these lines more. Now it's going to be. Let's do a bit of an audio test. Can everybody hear this?
You're really not going to like the answer to that re-examination.
You're not gonna like the answer
Oh
to that.
heck. Okay. All right. We do have hopefully some good news in this world. I did upload it to Rumble. So
Excellent.
if nothing else, Rumble is here to save America.
Yeah. See, just in case, see if you can drop a link in private chat if there is one.
Good idea.
Birds aren't even real suggests in the side chat. Send all the viewers a torrent link to the download. We can all do it's like an Xbox Live.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea, actually.
Andrew Wilson, fourth debate.exe. I'll email it to you.
Underscore definitely underscore not
Rev's
underscore
got
virus.
you covered. All
Don't
right.
worry, Rex. This is all just part of the mystery. That's
right.
all.
I mean, it's
It is
building.
part of the mystery.
The
The mystery is why.
I know, that is the mystery.
All right, this is the full raw video. You guys, hopefully this works.
We hear it.
Sean is a command band and we'll rock and roll. And
re-examination, you've done
All right,
it.
is this good?
You've done it.
Did it.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right, and we have, ladies and gentlemen, special guest, definitely not whatever, who has been a long-time contributor to the Andrew Wilson criticism verse. Please give her a warm welcome.
Woo! Welcome, Def Not.
What up, sucker?
So,
Hello.
Def, have you been watching? Do you know what this is?
Oh, this looks familiar. Did they finally release it?
I did.
Oh, did they? Did you like ask them to send it to you or something?
the band and we'll rock and roll. And yeah, how we'll do it is about 7:15ish. That's when we'll, if you did do the dinner ticket, that's when we'll start that. So it's gonna be pretty quick, like almost immediately after filming concludes. And then any other housekeeping things? Okay, I think we're good on the housekeeping. So, is the sound on, Sean?
Look at him.
So leftist thinks that's fine.
Hate in his face. Hold on.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Here we go. Here we go.
My next prop is there's nothing inherently wrong with white people advocating for themselves.
Oh boy.
So leftists think that's fine. Leftists think it's okay.
Maybe give an example just to flesh it out. I mean, I would say like there's nothing wrong with an individual advocating for themselves.
Whites as a group can also advocate for themselves and their own in-group interests, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that.
Over the interest, I'm assuming you don't mean over the interest of other, like subordinating other racial groups.
Well, so that's not subordination, advocating for your own interests. No, nothing. Okay. How about this? How about there's nothing inherently wrong with an ethno-state? How's that?
Dang.
Let's do it.
Can you pause for a moment? You know, I think it's rather convenient that Andrew Wilson's wearing black so he can't see the massive sweat stains as he uncomfortably prepares for re-examination to body slam him in the upcoming debate, suckers. I just wanted to point that out.
Thanks, Aiden, for making the expectations super high. But so as we can get to the discussion, and I know Leah can only be here for about an hour-ish.
I'll keep it brevacious. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Now, originally, I actually edited this, but of course, nature wants to rebel, so I can't actually stream anything from my computer, so here we are.
How's this? Am I good? Yeah. Cool. So, in terms of,
Let me. I'll start. Just make sure. Right?
Okay.
So myself, I don't ascribe to racialism at all. It's not even relevant to me. But I've thought through this issue multiple times. I can't actually see what the leftist argument is. If groups of people want to have an ethno state, what is the actual argument there?
well, the argument would be that your ethno state would inherently exclude other groups for reasons outside of their control. Well, I guess generally, if you say an ethno state that's not along racial lines, I feel like
even if it is along racial lines.
Well, if it is along racial lines, I mean, that's just discriminating against someone.
Like the Japanese?
I don't think what the Japanese are doing is okay when it comes to like their
the Japanese aren't allowed to keep Japan? They're immoral for keeping Japan Japanese?
I would say out of some kind of like a xenophobia, I would say yes.
Why? What makes that immoral?
Generally,
yeah. What actually makes it immoral for the Japanese to say, we only want this country of Japan to be Japanese, and we're not going to import immigrants because we don't want them, because we want this to stay Japanese? What's actually wrong with that?
Because maybe this is just the American in me, but I believe people of all races, ethnicities, and social groups have the ability to contribute to a greater whole.
Yeah, but do you
themselves.
have a right? Do you have a right to go to a nation like that?
I would say, depending on how you word it, yes.
Why?
I don't know.
What would give you the right to go to Japan?
Like, I'm not saying
what
you
would be the right. What
like,
would give you the right?
I wouldn't say you have a right to go to Japan, but I would say that
Why not?
Japanese society should become more welcoming of foreigners.
Yeah, they can be there as tourists, but they can't migrate.
Like to like stay, like even for people
Yeah, but
who
what
are
if
half
they don't want them there? What gives you the right to impose that on other? So in other words, what gives you the right to impose your stupid ass progressive values on people who are like, oh, we don't like them, and fuck you. We're going to keep all of this Japanese, and you can go straight to hell. What are they actually doing wrong?
I mean, like, especially when you like look at like the various issues among Japan, you know, you see
which ones?
High suicidality.
You thought how is importing?
So I think
black?
Hold on, you should pause here for a second.
Irate, bro.
Wasn't Andrew's original point was that on the leftist view, there's also no problem with an ethno state, right?
Non-fun.
Oh.
Your microphone sounds like a bag of tinfoil.
Oh my god! Of course. I don't know why it would be doing that. I can try one thing, but
yeah, try it again.
All right, is this any better? I don't know if it'd be
About the same, sadly enough. I don't know what happened.
dang. Yeah, I don't know what it would be because I'm pretty sure it's fine on my stream. So
Does he have any of the audio settings on? Because it might be like background sound or something like that. Might be messing it up. I don't know.
Looks like we're all full of technical difficulties today on this night of nights when I'm supposed to be super duper fancy and dapper.
yeah, I know.
You know, that's life.
it's
C'est
fine.
la vie, my friends. C'est la vie.
Right. I guess I kind of deserve it. So,
No.
You brought this upon yourself, re-examination.
what have I done?
Doesn't even let you change the mic while recording, but it is the right thing.
Look, watch as Andrew Wilson gleefully laughs at our technical difficulty over there on the side.
He looks like he's holding in something. Anyway.
Way to keep it professional, Will.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, non-fun. How are we looking? On the.
I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be any better. It doesn't.
All right. Just go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
It sounded to me like Andrew's original point was like he doesn't understand why on the leftist view there's a problem with an ethno state. But it seems like he's already got into just questioning why, or like, I don't want to say presupposing his view, but it seems like he's shifted towards like the merits of the view rather than just trying to understand why on the leftist view it would be wrong. I think leftists just, I mean, not all leftists obviously, but like left-leaning people generally would tend to have like more egalitarian type intuitions that wouldn't place the same weight on like the sort of right of cultural groups or whatever, the same way like more right-leaning people are going to tend to do. And he's already just kind of shifted towards the merit of that claim, when I think originally he was just asking about like the theory in mind.
You mean kind of like he assumed all right-wingers would agree with him that ethno-states are totally nothing wrong with them?
No, it's just he started with
Real quick, non-fun. Robin Webster says leave and rejoin and see if that helps.
I can try. We'll see. Oh, claim my 14-day free trial. I don't know. It is using the right microphone, so I literally don't know what it would be. Okay, I'm testing it within the thing. Okay, I'm testing it within the... That sounds normal. That sounds fine.
Selves, people who find the idea of expressing any issues going on with their lives as shameful. I think that that's a cultural taboo that carries forward toward other things as well. So I think that while it may seem in the face of it like a ridiculous thing, I think you can definitely draw a parallel between those two things. There's definitely isolationism going on both in terms of foreign policy and on the individual level within the country of Japan.
Oh yeah, you're saying people bottle stuff up and go crazy, Aiden? Is that what you say? Are you just trying to say you?
No, sorry, we're gonna.
Thank you for your much valued input, Zill.
It was good.
Does anybody else have any nuggets of wisdom to impart to the community? Non-fun, you want to do a mic check?
Yeah, do I sound any better now?
Unfortunately, your microphone is like my Caden Live performance when I tried to stream the edited
Yeah,
version.
I tested it when I tested it in the thing. It sounded fine. I don't know what's going on.
It's like sandpaper.
The weird thing is not fun is that at the beginning of the stream you said a couple of things and you actually sounded fine. So I think the gremlins worked their way in some point between then and now, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what you get for feeding them after midnight.
Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in?
A couple times he did.
I have actually, but that can't be the problem because it sounds fine.
You unplug the microphone and wait a second and plug it back in. It'll give it a different serial on the USB
And if you
port.
hit it with the hammer a little bit.
I told him to check the settings and see if the backgrounds. Wait, let me see. What is it called?
The echo cancellation. Yeah, it's off.
Well, turn it on and see if that changes it.
Well, doesn't let you turn it on when you're recording.
There we go.
I don't know.
There we go.
Oh.
It's good.
There we go.
You're welcome.
All right, non-fun.
Boom.
Speech.
Wow, Mod.
Speech.
Very humble.
Thank you.
What, you me to do the speech just at the...
Oh no! No!
No.
I should have been all prideful about it.
The moment of lucidity, the moment of
All right.
clarity.
Whatever.
shattered.
Hopefully you didn't do like 2-step, whatever that one step was that made it perfect. You know, maybe go back to that one step. Hopefully you didn't like click 2 toggles.
I couldn't do anything.
Leave it alone. It's good now for some dumb reason. All right. Does anybody have anything to say up to this point before we forget what this video
Oh, wait.
is about?
Wait. Is it fine right now?
Yes, it's good.
You're good.
Okay. Is it good right now?
What the heck?
Okay, I think I figured it out.
We're still good.
Oh wait,
Nope.
I was good.
Now it's bad.
Okay.
That's
do you,
good.
are you
That's
like
good.
are you like changing things?
I think it might be when I'm tabbed onto a different thing. It might not like that.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
We figured it out, ladies and gentlemen. Live
We're
tech
watching
support.
what you're doing on your computer, non-fun.
That's right.
All right, non-fun. Now that
Okay.
we figured out that multi-tabbing or whatever is going to crackle it up, you have a chance now to clearly say what you mean.
Yeah, I think initially.
You're saying something about egalitarianism being a core virtue.
Well, yeah. So I think many like left-leaning people or leftists favor like have more egalitarian intuitions. Their moral system it's like a lot more egalitarian, and on that view, it makes a lot of sense why you would think it is bad for Japan to not, or for nations in general, to restrict immigration or to have an ethno-state. Now, even they might not necessarily say it's intrinsically wrong to have one, but it seemed like initially his point was about like on the leftist view, why are these things bad? But now it's just shifted towards him kind of, I say presupposing, but maybe presupposing isn't the right word, but kind of presupposing a different view of morality that doesn't necessarily make you right-leaning, but more right-leaning people tend to have about like the rights of people and the rights of cultural groups. And I don't think many leftists would even think that like cultural groups have rights in the same sense Andrew Wilson does.
Well, also in the beginning, he was like, white people should be able to advocate for themselves. And
Yeah.
what that was is he was daring you to say something opposite about black people or any other interest group.
Right.
And everybody knew it, and nobody wanted to jump up. And so he went to ethno-state because he figured, okay, well, that's fine. We'll just, do that whole hog.
Yeah, I know.
He's just testing the water.
Right. But he still made the effort to make this a prompt and go forward. And I was not expecting this when I was in the room. I'm like, what? I have never heard him once take this position. And as he already made clear to Charles here, he's not a racialist. He says it has nothing to do with him. I tend to believe him. My issue with him is he is signaling to those who are. He is now. I part of the video I was going to show was actually more examples, and I can bring those up after this debate actually. Yeah, I don't know why you'd even try and run and test this argument unless you were trying to test the waters of how good the argument would be in larger form, in larger contexts.
Well, let's just mention the inherent contradiction of him saying that he's not a racialist and then saying that white people have the right to advocate for themselves. It would be like me saying, I don't believe in fairy tales, but leprechauns also have the right to advocate for themselves. Like, why? What's
And then
the point in bringing that up?
Let's not forget the irony of forced doctrine. There are no.
Can I hide my own camera?
Right, so it's inherently contradictory in my opinion. He's just trying to do a dog whistle to very xenophobic people. That's really the only thing that's trying to accomplish, in my opinion.
His best move at this point would be to say it's an internal critique. You guys believe in rights, so you'd have to believe in them equally across the board, unless you want to be like a standpoint epistemology kind of guy. It says, well, our people get it and your people don't because we're victims and you're not. Chipingra, by the way, you want to check your mic?
Yes, please. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Wonderful. And just to further that a little bit, this feels, I was talking with somebody about that just earlier tonight. This feels very downstream of Gramscian Frankfurt School style. Even though we're not looking at a class struggle, we're still looking at some kind of intersectionality that he's trying to apply to a frame of the world that to me is rather hilarious because he's supposed to be on the right, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
So Israel should be forced to open its borders.
How he talked about how Jared Taylor is like a 10.
If you are talking about
10 charisma
on the leftist view, he's the money. Obviously, many leftists believe like that is. Think about how Zorhan critiques Israel.
And he
right.
also had Nick Fuentes. You know what? Do I have those?
I say on the leftist view, but on
separate that I could
various.
I have to go through the media player.
Moral intuitions will get you there, and tend to also make people left leaning.
Is the head of American Renaissance, and he's one of the guys who, if you ever see a skinny, creepy guy who kind of looks like if Hank Hill was playing Dracula, that would be Jared Taylor.
I don't know who Hank Hill is, but
I'll tell you what.
You don't know who Hank Hill is?
Propane accessories.
I don't believe in racialism, but I sure am a fan of those white people.
Where's he, Dad?
Exactly. Bobby, get away from those black people.
I don't believe you've answered the question. It is a character from an animated television show called King of the Hill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's set with people in Texas, and
I've heard
so
of
it's kind of like that, country sort of feel, and blue collar sort of feel with those characters. Very
Bobby.
blue. Exactly.
That Connie girl's a little dark for my taste.
Wouldn't you rather have a white girlfriend? But yeah. Anyway, so before we lose a pace, does anybody have anything on comments for the Japan defense? That usually Jared Taylor it's his signature move. Is like, would you force the poor Japanese to take people they don't want? If they don't want it, it's their right to not want people based on their lineage because they're defending their culture.
If I had one more thing to say on it, I would say that the notion that Japan is ethnically homogenous is also not true. When you look at, I think it's the
Remember Noah Smith
Ido?
writing an article about this.
The Ainu people, who are a distinct group of people that the Japanese have long since subjugated under their rule. So it's not like there was one singular group of people that all called themselves Japanese. And for a long time, prior to the Sengoku Jidai period, there wasn't an idea of a unified Japan in the way that we think of it nowadays. So I just don't understand why these people want to craft a fiction that doesn't actually exist. There is no such thing as a country on this planet where they're all are one ethnically homogenous group of people. We're just too big of a planet to do that at this point.
What about Malta?
Well,
bad.
I see it as like a
You're right.
rejection. It's like some kind of
probably three black people in
anti-diversity
Malta, yes.
statements he's making. He's like, why is diversity good, guys?
Well, what he's trying to do is he's trying to take the social justice skin suit and use it with white skin, and then see if they're going to be consistent across the board with their advocacy opinions. But here we go.
I mean, well, clearly keeping like an homogenous society isn't working out for them. They've been in stagflation for the last 30 years. They don't have enough workers to maintain their workforce. Like their workforce is drastically decreasing.
Why couldn't they open it up for immigrants to come in to assist them with aiding in their medical field, like to aid the elderly, right? And then send them right back home when they don't need them anymore.
I mean, well, I feel like if you open that door, hopefully.
Why do they need to grant them citizenship? Why do they need to impose upon their society different racial elements they don't want or cultural elements they don't want?
Because
why is that? Yeah, why?
I believe people have like some kind of like inherent worth or something that they can provide to society.
Yeah, but that doesn't give them a right
category.
to impose that on society that doesn't want it.
Well, then I believe that society should change. Obviously.
So that society should change. So,
yes.
So your entire worldview is actually empire.
Empire in the sense of
I would argue that if you do believe that morality is universal, that they should change is not a statement of what you want to impose on other people, but what you think is right regardless of where the border lies.
Also, the idea that this is somehow some form of imperialism is absolutely asinine. An empire, by definition, needs to be a state structure. And what is being advocated for here is an international migration of people across state lines. If that ought be the case on a globalized system, then that's kind of inherently antithetical to the notion of imperialism. But I guess this is what happens when you take terms that are just kind of viewed as boogeymen within these communities and just start throwing them around without really thinking about the implications of them.
Spreading progressive ideology to all four corners of the world, even if they don't like it, they need to reform because they're wrong.
I mean,
they need to reform. They're wrong. It's sure the Japanese have been doing this for 2,000 years.
You agree people are wrong. They need to reform. I mean, that's kind of been your arguments for half of this.
That's not. How is that a progressive mantra to say progressive ideology? What about cultural preservation? Let me ask you this: if we had a place where Native Americans were right, let's say all Native Americans in the United States were granted Utah, and they said we don't want any white people in here. Are they wrong?
Yes.
Yeah. So you would impose that white people came in?
And like, are you like
they could move there if they wanted to?
Yeah.
Notice how impose is supposed to make you feel like a victim because somebody with different genetics walks in the room.
Absolutely. Like this idea that he's essentially trying to promote here is that, oh, you basically just support neo-colonialism, whereas when you actually look at the reality of colonialism, it's not this, oh, we're going to come over and add some benefit to your society. You know, colonies don't typically try to send people that are doctors first and foremost to areas that have resources. They send miners and ranchers and farmers and people that can exploit and extract those resources out of an area. And what the facts bear out when you look at immigration statistics, even in some of the most liberal countries in the Western world, like the one that I'm from, Canada, the fact of the matter is that if you're a doctor, you're going to be ahead in line compared to somebody that doesn't have the skills of a doctor. We do want people that are their best and brightest. We do want to take people that markedly add to society. And the only way that people like Andrew Wilson have of refuting that is taking anecdotal evidence, individual examples, as though that somehow refutes the statistics, and it doesn't.
But what if people want to maintain their culture? And the way they think they want to maintain their culture is by saying, you cannot be a vessel for our culture as we are because you don't look like we do and therefore we don't accept you. What would you say?
Well, I would say that inherently denigrating somebody due to them being a different culture is something that is antithetical to the values that we promote as a globalized society. So if you really want to take an isolationist stance, Japan, then say goodbye to the G7. Say goodbye to globalized trade as you currently know it. I guess you're going to have to rely on your own localized resources if you really want to take this hardcore isolationist stance. I think that's quite a reasonable response. If they have a right to be able to impose isolationism upon everybody else, then we equally have the right not to trade with them. But clearly they're benefiting from a globalized system while also wanting to exclude themselves from part of what entails a globalized system. They want to have their cake and eat it too.
How do they impose isolationism on everybody else? That doesn't make sense.
They impose it in the sense that they do not allow other people to be able to migrate to their country, and yet they benefit from a globalized system. They benefit from other people being able to come in.
They're not imposing isolationism on everybody else.
There's a fly on my microphone, bro.
Imposing isolationism upon other people that want to migrate to that country. I perhaps didn't say that as well as I could have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really entirely agree. I think I'm sort of okay with Japan doing Japan stuff. That the fact that there was another group of people in there is new to me. That's obviously shitty that they're possibly doing that to them. But if you compare the way Japan is to like what we have here in the States, it's not even comparable. It's completely different. If there is like a starting culture that you can even sort of try to protect, I think there's a valid argument for that, but we don't have that here. We don't have like a single culture where everybody kind of looks the same, does the same thing. It's just not really comparable.
Well, the reason why I make that statement is because when you look at the Japanese economic miracle post-World War II, you see that Japan would not have been able to get to the status and stature that it is on the international stage without international foreign intervention in their economy. And as a result, they have taken a large degree of cultural influence from those other people as well. However, they just seem to want to artificially stop that when it comes to immigration, and I just think that that's kind of ridiculous. Not saying they don't have the right to do that, but at that point, you shouldn't be able to have your cake and eat it too. If you want to isolate yourself from having migrants, then there should be consequences for that internationally.
Let's invade.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, Zill. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if I understand correctly, they didn't really have a choice to open themselves up. They were sort of forced into it after the whole, atomic bomb.
Oh, the unconditional. Well, they
Yeah.
unconditionally surrendered after the Second World War. That is
After
true.
It
bombed
was
them.
definitely a carrot and stick kind of thing. They were essentially economically demolished coming into the end of the war, and so we plopped McCarthy down on them.
They weren't doing. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And Chapingra, you might want to make every effort to turn the mic up or get closer to the mic, by the way.
No, I cut them off. I apologize. Please go ahead.
They weren't in amazing straits. I'm not saying that things were falling apart at the hinges, but we basically extended out a hand to say join into this larger trade community, while at the same time, hey, you have to join into this large trade community because we have these cute little atomic bomb things. So it's a mixed bag.
But I mean, look at the wider context of why those atomic bombs were dropped. They tried to take the approach of, oh, we're going to acquire all of these resources from all.
How did we get to the atomic bombs already, bro?
Trading from them. We're going to acquire the Dutch East Indies.
I just call everything anti-Semitic, so now no one cares about being called anti-Semitic anymore. Whoa.
By force.
Brave.
They tried that and they failed, and that's the exact reason why they got bombed, was because they were trying to conquer an entire continent and enslave a group of people under their empire. So, I mean, ultimately, their attempt to try to acquire those resources outside of trade failed spectacularly for them, and yet they still ended up reaping the rewards of an economic miracle as a direct result of them being aligned with a group power that saw them through that. It was an international effort.
Birds aren't even real. Read my mind. Can we watch the video? Why don't we save the rest of it once the sum total of the content has come out? We can probably do a little bit here and there, but it's only.
What's up, Luso?
Robin Webster, welcome to the panel. You are muted.
Uh-oh. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Trouble's here.
I was trying to figure out how to get an
WhatsApp.
on here, but I couldn't figure out how to do it.
What you doing?
That's why we have.
I don't know. Well, we're
All right, we can
in this panel watching Andrew Wilson.
But it's the Native Americans' land.
Natives allow white people to live on their land.
Yeah, but if they didn't, because it's theirs, right? Utah now is a sovereign Indian nation, and they said
Pause,
we only
please.
want
Robin,
Indians
I think we
in
got some background noise from you.
here, right? Native Americans
Thank you, Robin.
And we continue.
in here.
I would disagree with that. That because the problem is
So they
is
need
that
to
they're
let
denying
people in?
they're denying fundamental humanity of like individual people.
How are they
based on
denying their humanity?
Well, if they say, well, we don't want you here because generally, if you don't want someone there, it's because you believe they're either less than or some kind of
What
like
if
other
their
that
entire
doesn't-
motivation is there's not enough of us in this bloodline, and we're a culture that we want to preserve, right? And that's it. That's their only motivation. They're not saying that they're better than you or worse than you. They only want to preserve that single culture, which is Native Americans, which are almost wiped off the face of the earth. What are they doing wrong with that?
Well, I believe that that kind of like single homogenous society would lead to worse outcomes.
What worse outcomes?
Like a la Japan, like we were
I wonder.
talking about earlier. You see like their stagflation that they've been suffering. There's people just working themselves to death.
We're suffering here under the same crises that they have.
I
Not
mean,
enough
it's far
young people to take care of the elderly. And
But
we have
luckily, we're welcoming. We allow immigrants in
and
here,
that
and
creates
they
its own
can
social
come in.
issues.
Maybe we should think on the margin,
We
guys.
don't work through them. We end up with riots. We end up with all
We
sorts
got
of
through,
division
politically. Italians and we got through the Irish. I'm pretty sure we can
and-
handle a couple
but
like
do you
Mexicans.
realize that there's never been a nation on earth that has this much of a diverse sect with more coming every single day? That creates its own social issues.
And
And you
we-
can make an argument
and I
that
believe
you
that
can
we
make
can-
the argument that that's good for us, fine.
Yeah.
But you can't make the argument that they need to change. They need to change because they're doing something immoral because they don't want to let you in.
I mean, I think you could. Well, you would have to again go back to societies that like have those kinds of issues. Like obviously they are not.
And by the
as
way, doesn't
possible.
a society get to choose which issues they have? Like, can a society be
I
like,
mean,
we just don't care about this issue? Cultural preservation is more important to us.
I
Don't
mean-
they have a right to do that as a people?
I mean, that's just inherently nonsensical. Like, hey,
What?
everyone here is dying of the plague.
Well, they're
but we
not
don't
dying
care
of the
about
plague.
the plague.
The
So
reason their civilization is collapsing is due to their birth rate. That's it. It's due to their birth rate. And the thing
and
is,
guess what?
is
You
that
can fix the
if
birth
they
rate by
say-
allowing more people to come in
But
and
are
give
you
birth.
still preserving the same demographic, which is what they
Well,
want?
I don't think that every like demographic has a right to just stay like one demographic.
What if they want
forever.
to?
Well, then obviously you're seeing it now. Those populations die out.
Yeah. Okay.
So
and
becoming
what
more
if-
homogenous
but
doesn't
if
fix
that
that.
population says we
We'd
want to
rather
keep,
die out. We'd
we
rather
want to
die
keep this
out than allow
demographic this way because
someone who's a different skin
if they
color
say
to come
culture to us and the demographic is more important to us than anything else, even if that leads inevitably one day to the extinction of our civilization, why do they not have the right to do that? Why do you get to impose your way of life on them?
Well, I believe that that is a more kind of
He's just doing the thing Andrew Wilson does. The thing Andrew Wilson does all the time, right?
How do you get to?
Where he just wants you to say
what's just for other
I
societies?
mean, I feel like you.
He just wants you to say it's your
Like,
preferences.
who the fuck are you to determine what's just for the Japanese? Who the fuck are you?
I mean, when it comes like to just say like, oh, you can't come into our society because you have a different ethnicity or a different skin color, I feel like that's just inherently discrediting to someone's like humanity. Like, do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I think that you could have people sets who value things that you don't value. They don't value your.
Okay. The problem is they are otherizing, which might not be a hierarchical claim, but it is a moral claim of belonging and not belonging. Even if you want to say they are supposedly of equal value, you're arbitrarily excluding them and making them, even if you want to say they're not lesser, you are giving a rule to their genes that is unjust in that case. Okay.
Stupid ass Western values. They don't value what you consider to be egalitarianism. They don't value the same things that you value. They're a different people group. And if that people group said, we value homogeneity, that's what we value more than anything else, I don't know who the hell you think you are to tell them otherwise.
Well, okay, so if some group is like, we are.
He's doing this thing. It is so close to the truth. It is infuriating. He just hit the nail on the head. If they value different things, we can allow them to value different things. Our values are a propositional nation, not one that.
Kind of, I think both Democratic votes should be followed. And also thinks something people voted for is wrong. What a bad argument. I know it's all silly stuff, but I think what Andrew Wilson is digging for, because he does the thing a lot where he wants them ultimately to say something,
and I'm bringing that up because
like a reason why, and then he's going to say, well, but isn't that just your preference? I think that's what he's digging for.
It is more about the value. I'm sorry. He's infuriating me.
Well, why wouldn't he be?
Interesting that some people cape for ethnic nation states while simultaneously calling immigration policy that includes the whole world.
Shut up, Aiden.
So I think there's like some far leftists that are hypocritical on that, but not that many.
I'm going to turn this car right around.
And the symmetry breaker that they would say exists is like some power dynamic of like historical colonization or whatever, right? Like they would have reasons for it. Maybe not good reasons, but...
Was that the lullaby you got as a kid?
Yeah.
Just put a paper bag over me and just said that over.
And then the plastic bag, right?
Well, you know.
We're going to, let's say, by force one group out and make this a home for ourselves.
Sorry, I heard the hissing. We're good.
That's different. That's so you're.
Funny move would be to spin as a name. Who are you to say that I don't have a right to disagree with the Japanese? That's true.
Opposite of what
Well,
I'm
in terms
saying.
of that, the thing is, in terms of like practice, I mean, I think we all want like people to be able to kind of live their best lives possible, and so if you allow,
Why isn't it my right to disagree with every Japanese person?
Life is not up to you.
By nature of them being Japanese.
I mean, I think that if you kind of deduce things from kind of a more kind of, I guess, Rawlsian kind of perspective about what creates a just society. For instance, like the veil of ignorance, like I mentioned
Do you
earlier.
think then that you have the right to go in and put to rights any society you believe is unjust?
Do you have a right to go in and put to what was
To
the
put to rights any society you believe is unjust?
I would say in
See, this is my issues, is that he just brings up this false dichotomy where the only way that you can get a society to conform to your values is some sort of use of force, and I guess that kind of feeds into the whole force doctrine thing. But I just brought up an example earlier of how you can easily get a society to at least pressure it to change its values without having to fire a single shot. You just put sanctions on them. You impose international I'm trying to think of the word.
We're gonna add some tariffs.
Yeah, we're gonna put the
double
tariffs.
them.
We're gonna put the
triple
tariffs
them
in.
next week.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, Aiden, you think that if Japan does not want to allow immigration to their nation, that we should impose sanctions upon them?
I think that they should not benefit from a globalized
I mean, I don't think many moderate liberals do that, Metro.
while also restricting part of the consequence of globalization, which is the migration of people to different countries. Especially when, as I stated earlier, the vast majority of people that they would import into their country would be people that are skilled laborers or white-collar workers. They're perfectly capable of doing that. They just don't want to do it based off of a cultural disposition that I think is rather hypocritical when they wear blue jeans and watch American television and go to American-style golf courses on the weekends. I think it's kind of silly of them to go, yeah, but you can't live here, though. Not to say that you have to force them, but you can certainly put pressures on them to make them recognize that hypocrisy, so to
You
speak.
can punish them.
Well, I
Punish
mean,
lack
them
of a
on the
better
world
term.
stage.
It's different though. Like if you're like, oh, trade. Well, trade is one thing. You can still trade, but having people being imported and exported is a different thing.
Hey, Dev,
if you just
real
want to
quick.
trade, it's
You
a different.
you are you sound like Cher in the '90s. Are you on the same tab? Because that might be an interference.
Like click off of it. Is that better?
Try again.
Um,
Try one more time.
I don't know. It seems like nothing's different.
It's different on our side, unfortunately.
Yeah. So Non-Fun found out that if he is on a separate tab, that it messes with his audio. So
Yeah.
if you go on the same tab that that the stream is on, then it should help with audio.
I'm on the same tab.
It might just be the Wi-Fi or something, because her webcam's also.
Can you sing "Do You Believe in Life After Love" while you got this going on? Because that'd be great.
No, I don't sing, but I mean, I don't have to talk. It's cool.
No, we want you to talk, but just go ahead and we'll just carry on. What happened?
Oh, I thought you'd carry on as and play the video, but not.
Oh no, carry on.
Carry on.
Go ahead and say what you're gonna say, and then we'll play the video.
Oh, basically, it's different than trading versus like people. You can still trade with a country and still have all the benefits of trade, but without having people be exported or imported. Like that's a different thing. So you can still have one have benefit from that and not the other. So, but that maybe we can save that for the future.
No, you can.
because
I'm not
that's a longer
I'm not contending that you can't do that. I'm just saying that one ought not reap, essentially have their cake and eat it too, in terms of trying to have all of the benefits.
Well, that's
from
not all benefits because
globalization.
they're not getting. If they're not exporting people, they're not importing people. One thing is like if maybe you could ban them from exporting their own people, that would be an equivalent sort of ban or whatever.
The fuck are we talking about, bro?
can't go
We should have reciprocal immigration
They can't go to our
moratoriums. I agree.
a fair, even thing that you could impose.
I think Japan's in a weird position where they really definitely need us because China is right there, North Korea is right there. Same thing, South Korea needs us. So I think Japan just can't help needing us at the end of the day. I don't think they have any escape.
Like as long as they're not violating like human rights, like within like if they're violating the human rights of like part of their population that's already there, then I think that we should probably do it. But I don't support doing sanctions against people because they
Well-
don't want to allow immigration.
Rob-
I just don't.
Robin, just to clarify, I was simply trying to outline a possibility of having a society like Japan change its values without applying any kind of force. Now, somebody in the side chat said that pressure is force, but I mean, like, at that point, you're basically just saying anything is force, like a strongly worded
Violates the NAP.
force at that point. It's a bit of a slippery slope, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he would say the stronger word argument is like 14 steps ahead of actual lethal force. And ultimately, if you're going to say that we have a government and the government is the use of force, and ultimately at the bottom of it is lethal force. And so you're going to say that, well, the interest of the people is such that if we need to use lethal force, we will use lethal force because we believe that the only way to keep our culture, which we prize more than anything else, alive, it would be using lethal force to keep our culture genetically that way if we see so fit, because you are not going to be part of it because of your genetics. And we care about it that much. That's how high it is in the priority scale for us. That's my problem with that. Is I don't know how you can square that as actually ethical in any real sense. All right, moving forward.
Depending on the context, I would say yes.
Yes.
Oh, Leah.
Sorry, I'm going to try and jump in there. Maybe it's a lag. I also just wanted to say I'm not really sure what's with nobody really just wanting to answer like, yeah, sure to that question. I know Andrew Wilson himself has said in the past, like when he's talking about the warriors of Papua New Guinea, for example, like if he had it his way, of course, we'd go in there and stop them.
Correct.
He's a Christian. He doesn't want to see children abused, right? So like, what would be the problem to his initial question, Andrew's, I mean, to just say, I'm like, yeah, morally in a perfect world, yeah, I would stop them.
Yeah.
I don't really see what ground he would be feeding.
Yeah, just to steel man it, I think it would be like, do we have the right to? I don't know. I've been working on this thing all day and I still haven't got this, so maybe I should just take a back seat. So you were saying, I'm sorry,
Mr. Good Time.
I feel like I had a response somewhere jingling in my head, but I think he would say that it was an internal critique. He probably would just say it's an internal critique because you guys believe in in-group racial interests, and then so everybody else has the right to do it as well, including on the countrywide level. But I agree with you that if we took over, we would get to impose our own thing. But then there would be a separate discussion of, do we have a right or a mandate or some kind of pass to take over another country, which is I don't know.
Right. A very slippery slope, to say the least. And I can't disagree. I think when you're having a conversation like this, I think it's not entirely useless to kind of compartmentalize, like, morally in a just world, like your utopian society, what you would do preferably, and like pragmatically what makes like political logical sense. I don't think that, it would hurt to do that at times as well.
Yeah.
It would depend, like if.
So isn't every society that doesn't follow progressive mantra an unjust society?
I would say in certain senses, yes, but
Well,
I believe the arc of justice is slowly kind of like
Bro,
bending
what you're
towards
saying
that.
is that you think it's perfectly acceptable for progressives to come in, right, via force to change the society to make it just.
Well, without force.
Well,
I
how
mean,
do you make them
generally-
do that? How do you make them do it then?
Through just general kind of like, proximity. Like, what
You
is
just
it?
ask them real nice?
Like,
You're just gonna
what's
ask
the
them?
phrase? Racism doesn't survive first contact. I believe if you get enough people to kind of like.
Yes, it does. What are you talking about? Well, whoever said that is an idiot because it's not true. Okay, it does.
I gotta say, racism definitely does not survive first contact. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had like everybody in the clan. As soon as they would run up to somebody, they would immediately drop all their stuff and go home and be like, "I like them now,"
Yeah. I mean, like, I see the sentiment of what he's trying to get at there. I mean, like,
Yeah, it's not.
Davis.
It's obviously not literally true, but I do think there is like actual research that like generally just living in a more like diverse area will make you like more accepting of diverse people. It will make you like more accepting of immigrants and whatever other cultures exist in your area. Like that seems to be the case.
Yes,
Correct.
and anyone who doesn't believe that should go watch Daryl Davis.
Right.
Yeah, that's the person I brought up. Yeah, he's a perfect example of the fact that when you actually expose yourself to other people and not just in a very brief, oh, I saw them at the grocery store, but actually sit down and really have a prolonged conversation with those people. They often are not these horrible savages that you've made them out to be.
I saw him thumbing through a JCPenney catalog once, you know. It's like, yeah. Am I good yet? No,
Yeah.
but so let me back up a second because they were talking about.
Well, how do you make them do that?
Yeah, how do you make them do it? Well, Andrew brings up propaganda all the time. He doesn't say everything is like
Exposing yourself to other people feels weird, man.
gun to the head. How are you going to, you know?
Yeah, literally.
He literally says that he uses.
Sounds like something a virgin would say. That's what I'm hearing.
In a government,
Luther.
reinforce values in a society and how a society would think. So to say how you do it besides force, well, I mean, obviously the threat of force is behind everything government related, and I could accept that. But to frame it as how do you do it without force, I mean, I guess in the context of a discussion of how do you change an unwilling society's culture, yeah, force would probably be the only way.
I mean, if it's completely obstinate and completely unwilling to conform itself to outside pressures, then fair enough. But I think I adequately highlighted a possible contender earlier that doesn't require any force whatsoever. This is unfortunately a good example of somebody, the person contending Andrew here. They have good ideas. They just don't necessarily have a good way of articulating those ideas in the moment.
But I would see
Well, yeah.
placing sanctions on them as sort of a type of force, maybe not physical force.
Yes.
But that's definitely a.
A progressive debater tries to teach Megatron supporters how terrible of a person he is and why you should not vote for or support him. Do you have any tips to help me debate?
From force
I don't really know, Cartage.
the might is right. So
I don't consider myself like the best,
But that it gets
like
results.
the best debater in the world or anything. And I think it's going to be, depending on the type of person that you're debating, you're going to need to do different things. But a lot of maggots are more than that. There's more people in the world. So I say just do research and like read and know things. But sometimes with maggot people, you don't even need to know that. But it's always nice to just know as much as you can, especially because there's some things that you can know an absurd amount of details on, like any of the stuff Trump was like indicted for, or any of some of the like corruption scandals currently. And if you just know a lot of the details, oftentimes they'll like say some bullshit. A common tactic is like they'll just like be like, oh, well, like you don't know that, or like, oh, they'll just throw out some wild theory about some bullshit that they think means Trump didn't do anything wrong, and we just know the details, and like it's just not the case that that's factually what happened. When we get better at debate through practice, true, nothing will make you better against bad face office hacks like Wilson, yeah.
That's how they would characterize it.
See, I mean, I just don't think that, like, well, that's because that's where they draw their arbitrary lines of who they think is actually a real American. But like, I don't agree with that.
So what do you think constitutes force then?
Coercion, any form of coercion.
Yeah, that's coercion. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, AX.
Yeah.
How do you make them do it then?
Through just general kind of like, proximity. Like, what
You
is
just
it?
ask them real nice?
Like, well,
You're just
what's
gonna ask
the
them?
phrase? Racism doesn't survive first contact. I believe if you get enough people to kind of like.
Yes, it does. What are you talking about? Well, whoever said that is an idiot. There's not.
Go ahead, Spingro.
All right. I think this is actually kind of a two-layered thing. On the personal level, on the personal exchange level, the racism doesn't survive first contact, as we've discussed, is not wholly true, but it mostly holds. But there's a broader level here, and again, I'm going to ask Andrew, are Germans white? Because in our own historical context, as the West was expanding, we still weren't super pro-German. So if you look at St. Louis, what is St. Louis? St. Louis was an enclave of German society that was kind of outside the New England Protestant. I mean, they were also Protestant, but what got them into what we currently think of as St. Louis today was a broader economic push that if you're a person in one of these enclaves, you can kind of like, say you're a merchant, you can trade only within the enclave, or you can learn about what's going on outside the enclave to trade with them as well. So this economic incentive is a broader scale that happens outside the individual first contact.
Yeah, not just the Germans, but a variety of people. The Irish, the Italians. There's a large
Jewish.
number of people that were considered non-whites for
Chinese.
a long time.
Yes, they threw a fit over the Irish. Like
I don't think the Chinese are considered white.
my ancestors,
Still.
and I guess yours too, Rex. Yeah, we would not have been called white according to in the 1920s or something like that.
Correct.
It's
That's where no Irish need apply comes in.
Yeah.
And that we were called well, white something, one word that
Fenians.
I'm not going to say on YouTube or otherwise, you know. And then the Africans were called smoked Irish around that same time in the 1800s.
Crazy.
It just goes to show that the idea of race being this very firmly
There's
established
a Joe Louis white presenting clip. Oh no.
arbitrary, and that's because
I don't think I've seen that. Well, I might have seen it, but I don't remember.
modern
I can imagine.
the last 400 or so years of
I can imagine it being cringe.
Which is why I debated on Abe Dinkus's channel that race does not exist, but race
What's up, Grumple?
does. So anyway, moving forward.
Not true. Okay, it does. But more importantly, let's just point this out. What would actually give you the right? What would even make that unjust other than it's unjust from your code of conduct? My secular progressive code of conduct
Ah, there we go.
agrees with it.
Finally.
It's unjust. You have a
He
right
couldn't get him to say it, so Andrew Wilson's just saying it.
I just believe that people have like an inherent worth, and that no one should be discriminated against or prevented from entering just based on some inherent.
Calls a very Asian person white, then backtracks to white presenting base.
All right. So
Close
what's
enough.
your evaluation of Charles's approach here before we move to mine? And anybody can answer. Don't everybody talk at once.
I was literally just about to say, nobody talk all at once. Come on now. Like I said before, I think he's got a solid framework of his worldview. I think he's got good ideas. I just think that the way that he presented those ideas could certainly use a little bit of work.
Yeah.
That's my...
I think he did it all right. Does he like debate online at all? Does he know anything about Andrew Wilson?
Not that I'm. Well, I mean, he signed up for this as I signed.
I
up.
guess.
I'm
But I think if
aware.
I think if you're used to, or like if you know enough about Andrew Wilson, you know like the type of arguments he's making or whatever, and it didn't come off that he was doing that, because I think a lot of what Andrew Wilson was doing, when he just kept asking like why, he's doing the thing where he wants to eventually like ground it out into just saying like, oh, this is like by your standards, this is just like your preferences or whatever. And towards the end, he basically like the last thing Andrew said was basically him saying that because he couldn't get the other dude to say it. So I think if you know the type of person Andrew Wilson is, you can kind of spot that's what he's doing. But it didn't seem like he.
He's never said this before, ever, in any of his other public appearances. So this was a monkey wrench. This was
Sure.
He never took this position publicly.
I just think that generally, though, him, Jim Bob, other people of his ilk,
No, I don't think
this
he's.
very interrogative approach
No.
when it comes to people, and the best antidote to that is just to give him a dose of
Wilson's a pretty common last name, I'm pretty sure.
worldview in question and scrutiny, and go, okay, well, if my worldview is so wrong, then demonstrate how yours is somehow superior to it. They don't want to do that, though, because they don't want to do the heavy lifting of advocating for their ideas. They would just rather poke holes and question other people's ideas, which is always much easier.
We want it to be like clear debate.
No state, a lot of right wingers.
Like
exploration, yeah.
So I came in. I was not prepared at all for this. I was prepared to talk about forced doctrine. I was prepared to talk about the whole issue of degeneracy and how he would deal with that from a state level. I was prepared to talk about what was the other one? Like the definition of Christian nationalism in the first place that he wanted to put out there. I was not when he brought out this whole, white advocacy and then ethno-state stuff. I'm like, shoot. First of all, I didn't figure I had to debate this with anybody, let alone a guy who's never done this before. And I was kind of forced to go up because as the only right winger on the panel, if I don't say anything, I look complicit. So I had to do something. And I think there were aspects of Charles' approach that were better than my approach. And so we'll just go from there.
Want it to be back and forth the last
Right.
hour.
Okay. I we'll get there. I just need to determine a couple things. Let me know when you're ready.
Oh, okay.
All right. So let's, for the sake of argument, let's say Israel, right? Ethno-state. A lot of right-wingers support that. I think circumstantially, you can make the case that because there's a lot of people from different places around the world that want to kill.
It's not. It's an ethno-religious state.
Ethno-religious state. Okay, well, let's put that aside then, and then we'll take like Japan. I agree. You have no right to tell a country I belong here and you can't stop me. That
Right.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And as far as them making their own rules, that's their prerogative in that sense.
Yep.
My interest is where does ethno-state crisscross on a moral level with, because the prompt has to do with nothing wrong. Where does that crisscross with Christian nationalism?
I mean, so I would not promote that there was a necessary conditional, especially, well, in the United States, it wouldn't even be possible. However, if there was a nation of Christians who also said that they value the people group who's rooted to that land and they didn't want other people groups in there, I think that that's their business.
Yeah, I just don't see how you can make. Yes.
Sorry, why did he say that, like, wave away Israel because it's religious something, but then his argument is Christian nationalism? Would that be a better example because it is also a religion, like ethno-state?
So here's the thing.
Only real Christians are white, though.
Wilson, in his debate with the apostate prophet, made the argument that boils down to the Jews are trying to bring the Antichrist. So he's got this whole scheme in his head that the Jews, because they're searching for the Messiah and they've rejected Christ, therefore they're searching for the wrong Messiah, and the efforts they are using are going to ultimately be the thing that ushers in the Antichrist. And so he's going to not put that in the same level as any Christian nationalist nation that could come forward. So it's a special case in his mind.
Oh.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll have to show these clips in piecemeal because it's unfortunate, but I'll show them throughout the stream. But there's a cumulative case here that basically Andrew, outside of this unreleased debate, has been courting racists. I'm not accusing him of racism. I don't believe he's a racist, but what I think he does is that he believes that no matter what, we have to beat the left and fight the left, and we will have to embrace as many allies as we can in order to make that happen because we can't afford the left to win in any circumstances. And I don't consider it winning to join with these people. So that's a difference between me and him.
Quick question. Is Andrew a dispensationalist?
He's a what do you no? If anything, he's probably like an anti-dispensationalist.
Yeah.
Okay, so dispensationalism is a totally new Christian doctrine from 200 years ago that basically treats like the Jews are on one track and the Christians are on another track in terms of this life and the afterlife, and that God relates to the Jews differently in a way he relates to Gentiles, even salvifically. Like classically, in early dispensationalist thought, Jesus's gospel does not apply to us today, and only Paul's gospels apply. Paul's letters apply to us today. Not any of the other letters from any of the other apostles apply to us today. It's completely whacked out. It would take too long, and nobody should know about it. It should just go away, and it kind of is going
And
away.
they also have a very strange eschatology as well.
Yeah.
They believe in a pre-tribulation rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation, during which time a big bad antichrist will rise up, claim he's the Messiah, rule the world, and stamp everybody with a barcode, microchip, whatever, depending on what generation your end time book is from. Because seriously, if you look into the pre-tribulation rapture doctrine, it starts all the way back, like you can go back to like the 50s and pick up a book from the 50s about the rapture, and they would claim that it's a branding. Then you fast forward to the 70s, grab a book from the 70s about the rapture. They say the mark of the beast is a barcode. Then you get up into the 90s, 2000s, and it's a microchip. Then you get into modern day, and now it's an RFID chip, a vaccine, or genetic mutation, or something goofy. Anyways, this doctrine evolves as our technology evolves. But the point I'm making is if he thinks that the Jews are going to usher in a single big bad Antichrist who claims to be the Messiah but is not the Messiah and then rules the world, well, then he's just taking a page out of the Left Behind trilogy, or saga, as it is now.
Does he follow Doug?
Doug Wilson?
Yes.
I don't think so, but okay, if you remember our second debate, I brought up the book The Case for Christian Nationalism, and I said, are you familiar with this book? He's like, I haven't read it in depth, but it's in bad form to criticize someone I mostly agree with on most
Case
things.
Left Behind
Weird
reference.
thing to say.
Hashtag what that mean.
State author who refers to his vision of an
What that is.
as a common Volksgeist, unquote. And
Yeah.
I covered this in my interview with Hitler Hated Christ.
See, I'm subscribed to Doug's channel, so I watch his content with a barf bag usually beside me. But
Yeah, you're not the only one.
yeah, so I just wondered if, because to me they share a lot of similar like solutions.
Hey, Missing
Wait.
You want to take care of Maryland and sweep up the mess?
Yeah.
Thank you, please.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Just
just
gonna pull up on you, Marilyn.
Oh, jeez. You want me to just time her out for the?
Yeah, let's time her out for like 10 minutes or something.
All right.
sorry. Did you say your interview with someone called Hitler Hated Christ? That's what I heard.
Christ. Correct. Yes.
Incredible. It sounds like an interesting guy.
Yeah, so he's a Christian who combats the far right that's infiltrating the church, and he's extremely knowledgeable about the Holocaust and the Nazis and all that kind of stuff. So the ideology, the history, I would actually like Aiden's take on that episode someday, but yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
sure.
All right, here we go. That case from a Christian framework.
Why couldn't you?
Because there's no moral ought between people of the same phenotype.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's a moral ought between immediate nuclear family based in the Bible, but there's no moral ought, say, just because we have the same phenotype.
Cringe.
Therefore, we have some right to say that we belong together based on that alone. Now, if you want to bring in things like language, obviously, then there's going to be a problem. And
Yeah,
you
but
have,
I don't understand.
Yeah.
When you talk about oughts, you also have to infer ought not.
Okay.
So what's the ought not? That you ought not be able to make a determination based on your social values as to who you want as a part of your people group.
Yeah, so I disagree. I think that if I just point out that there's no necessary moral relationship between people of the same phenotype, I don't have to like.
But that doesn't mean that they ought not do it.
I'm not saying that either, but so what I'm saying, what I'm trying to get at here is that this is an arbitrary rule. If you want to, you have no right to make arbitrary rules in Christianity. You don't have that kind of fiat to say we're going to separate you, we're going to deny you based on your lineage. That you don't have a moral framework with which to do that, and therefore it's just partiality. It's just being unjust. I mean, it's racism really, but partiality would be usually the kind of general umbrella that would fall under.
So I take it then that Andrew ascribes to the notion that the Bible does say that there are odds between different phenotypes, different ethnicities of people.
Or he does. Yeah, well, he would say that there is no. He's looking for the ought not. So now I have to supply the ought not for him. He's making me do the legwork of forming an argument of you ought not have an ethno-state, or you ought not have a race-based interest group, or things like that. I just thought it was common sense.
I mean, not only that.
Yeah,
but,
he's
like,
not going to take that as an answer.
There's literally passages in the Bible about how there's neither Jew nor Greek, slave nor free in the mind of God.
Right.
Guess what
So,
passage I quote 3 times, and he just says that it makes no sense and it's illogical. Galatians 3:28, the exact one that you brought up.
Yeah, like if him saying that there are no ought nots is absolutely ridiculous, because if you were to say, oh, okay, well, the Bible never says that it's wrong to murder a grandmother on Friday evening in the Philippines, you know, like there's nothing in the Bible about that. Yeah, like there's nothing in that. Well, I'm sure Andrew's response to that would be something along the lines of, well, yeah, but the Bible also clearly says that one ought not murder people, so that's pretty much inferred by that. The same is true for the passage of Galatians and what you're talking about right here. So I really don't see the equivalency with what he's talking about here.
Right. I mean, if the wall of separation is broken down between Jew and Greek and Gentile and all that kind of stuff, yeah. So certainty exists. You say,
So-
Andrew, maybe you'll make a biblical case. Here's the thing. The Jews being a distinct nation, if you wanted to like steelman the argument and say, well, look at Israel, that was an ethno state. Not actually, not exactly, because if there was a slave that broke free from a foreign country and came into Israel, they could live wherever they want. And no Jew could actually do that within Israel. They had to live within their tribal land. But a freedman from a foreign country who escaped, you're not supposed to enslave them. You're supposed to let them live as a citizen wherever they want. So even Israel, during its time, was not an ethno state, strictly speaking. And I would also say that ethno states are just incidental to proximity anyway. Like there's inherent tribalism because people are just dumb and sinful. And then there's also the fact that you look like each other and you share genes because you have proximity with each other and you share a common space. And that's just going to be the natural consequence. But what it does is it gives us this illusion of moral belonging or some intrinsic unseen chain that holds us all together. And it's like, that's just convention. It's not actually real.
I mean, find me
True.
an ancient society that operated under the guise of an ethno-state. I wouldn't even say Israel is the only one. I mean, like, even societies that went as far as, like, the Spartans, they still relied on the Helots, who were what were they? Lacedaemonians. They originally came from the area neighboring Lacedaemonia to the west of it. So yeah, every single one of these societies, no matter how pure, quote unquote, they were,
What's up, Chop
still
Chop?
had integration of other groups, other ethnicities within them to some level or another. There just isn't a ancient example of an ethno-state.
What I'm saying is this.
So then you're just neutral on it.
No, but what I'm saying is this. To impose an ought in the name of Christian nationalism, which
What voter ID? Do you mean they didn't get the Save Act through, did they?
obviously is unchristian. So, for example, when Jesus
Well, what
goes
is
to the
he,
temple,
what are we saying the ought is?
now he interrupted me, but what I was going to, when I say, for instance, I'm going to give an example, but apparently that's not sufficient for him. When Jesus goes to the temple, Rev, what is that passage? Is it Luke 2 where he goes to the temple and he cites, he reads a passage and then he cites the Naaman the Syrian being the only one who the prophet was sent to cure his leprosy, and then a foreign woman. There were many widows in Israel at the time, but there was only one that received the prophet who had them fed. Rev, do you remember what I'm talking about there? I think Rev's asleep. Reverend
Ground
Sus.
control to Major Rev.
No, I'm here. Hello? Sorry.
Rev,
my
what was that
audio again
passage? Is that Luke 2, where he reads from Isaiah and then challenges their gatekeeping from the gospel and the message of God to the world?
Seems bad, Chop Chop.
Yeah,
I agree.
Let me check here. Yeah, it's at the end of Luke 2.
Oh, man.
Son, hold on one second. I gotta get the...
It's important
Get this
because if you're
working.
going to engage a professing Christian on how they justify an ethno state, you have to find all the passages where Jesus is breaking down that barrier and challenging their presuppositions of, like, the in-group stuff. So one example I go to is when people go to Jesus and they say, your mother and your brothers are looking for you, right? So nothing is closer than family in most people's conventions. So it's Matthew 12:46 is what I'm looking at. While he was still speaking to the people, behold,
Whoa.
his mother and his brothers stood
Don't say that,
asking
Chop Chop.
to speak
Twitch
to
gets
him.
not
He
gonna like
replied to
that.
the man who told him, who is my mother and who are my brothers? And stretching out his hand toward his disciples, he says, here are my mother and my brothers. For whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my mother and brother and sister. So in that case,
The Bible didn't consider special obligations are
of family
a violation of Ex Ante Pareto.
spiritually, and they're standing towards God, how can a Christian justify an ethno state?
Mm-hmm. And the passage from Luke you're looking for, I think, is Luke 4.
Luke 4.
Well, what is your argument we point to is that diversity has evidently been beneficial to humankind, but he's
No,
going to say
the argument is not for diversity. The argument is against xenophobia, bigotry, jingoism, any kind of gatekeeping based on genetics. And as far as a society.
Well, Rex, and like to help you on your point here, there's also the passages where Jesus says that about like you will not be able to get along. You will get into it with your family, like he does mention that too. You know, like later on, like your mother against son or what, however the passage goes. You know what I'm talking about. So those actually are like going along the same lines of what you were talking about, like family. But you actually probably shouldn't have like resisted letting Andrew burden shift.
So far, he's really good at it. I also, if I had my wits about me, I would have brought up "love your neighbor," which directly cites racial tensions as this example when Jesus says, "The
my God, AI viewers."
And the scribe went his own way when he saw the man who was beaten by robbers and left for dead, but the Samaritan came and cleaned his wounds and made sure he had shelter and all those things." And then so he asked the lawyer who asked, "Who's my neighbor?" He's like, "Who was the neighbor in that situation?" And then the lawyer had to admit the one who helped him. Even though Jesus used the racial division as the sticking point to make the point even clearer, it's like your neighbor is not somebody who's genetically close to you or culturally close to you. Your neighbor is the one who is anybody, really, loving anybody.
Yep.
Does that include the shrimp?
How solidified do you think it is that the story of the Good Samaritan is about racial topic? Do you think do you think the Good Samaritan is about looking past racial issues that are going on? Well, it was.
I think it touches on it. Whether it's solely about it, it's not solely about it. It's multidimensional, and it's one of the dimensions that Christ hits upon. Because otherwise, why would he bring up somebody from a different nation if he wasn't challenging, the lawyer's notion of what could be and couldn't be a neighbor? I mean, right. Jesus says in Matthew, like not the Beatitudes, but the Sermon on the Mount, he talks about, you have heard, love your friends and hate your enemies, but I tell you, love your enemies and pray for them to be like your Father in heaven, essentially. Who gives the rain to the just and the unjust.
And I think the Samaritans were people that were not well liked among the Israelites.
They were seen as race traders, basically.
The Samaritans were descendants of Abraham as well, and I think where they came from was when the temple was rebuilt. In the book of Ezra, it says that they divorced their wives and kicked out the children that weren't of Israel toward the end there, and I think that's where the Samaritan people came from. But I do know John 4, 21 to 24 is a great example of the kind of racial diversity between the Samaritans and the Jews. When Jesus met with the Samaritan woman at the well, she says to him, "Our father worship in this mountain." And you say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. Now the Samaritans, they worshipped at a spot that was considered holy because of something to do with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Jews thought that they worship in Jerusalem at the temple. So there was that difference. But then Jesus says something very interesting to this woman. And Jesus said unto her, "Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor ye at Jerusalem worship the Father. You worship, you know not what." We know what we worship, for salvation of the Jews, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. So here Jesus is saying there will come a time that the Samaritans won't just be worshiping in the mountains at their holy spot, and the Jews won't just be worshiping at the temple in their holy spot. Instead, everybody be worshiping together in spirit and in truth, showing that division, both spiritually and racially, was soon to be dissolved. And that's why the gospel was spread unto the Gentiles. You see, if there was truly a Christian ethno-state, then it would have been established with Christ, whose ministry was only in Jerusalem. He didn't spread the gospel to the Gentiles until after the Passion. But if it were to remain an ethno-state, then it would have just stayed with the Jews even after the Passion.
Right. And but there was prophecies even before of God being the God of the nations, even in the Old Testament. So this was already alluded to beforehand. And of course, if there's salvation for Adam, there would be salvation available for every descendant of Adam and not just descendants of Abraham. One last thing. Teriak brought up 1 Peter 2:9 says, "But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." And so that's talking on a spiritual level. So that the distinctives of the Israelites were just an illustration.
Teriak, I know. Not surprising that
who repent and
he takes that view.
But yeah. So I'm gonna go forward
here.
Well, I'm saying the ought is our highest priority in terms of value sets, which is part of, not all of, but part of what makes a nation should be, especially if it wants to call itself Christian, should be their union in Christ, not their union in phenotype.
What is that? But that's not the ought. That's just made up shit that you just made up.
Really?
The ought, yeah, the
really?
ought
So
here.
there's no Juno Greek. Can you, okay. Am I the only one that's kind of baffled by that answer?
I mean,
No, that's crazy.
He's really shooting from the hip at this point. You definitely get the impression that he's just, if I say this confidently enough, then it's going to disarm re-examination from his position, and that might work on some people. But I don't think that's going to work on you, for what I know of you anyway.
We'll see. We'll see. I look back at this and, you know, there's things I could have said, but yeah, that it's made up stuff.
Yeah,
like,
the Bible's made up, bro.
Unbelievable. So no slave, no free, no male, no female. In terms
that's
of,
not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you just made up what I said. I didn't say that the ought was
Yeah,
that
now
it
he's
was
talking
the
about
highest
nothing.
positional wouldn't be Christ.
I didn't say you said that. I'm just saying that I don't see that there's a moral ought, and I don't see
Do
how.
you think that there is
what
a
I'm saying is
moral ought that
I don't see that within a Christian moral framework how it's permissible to make the phenotype the gatekeeper
for your people group,
for your nation on a civic level? I don't see how.
Does that mean you have to take in everybody?
Okay, check. This is the false dichotomy he's trying to bring up. It's either ethno-state or open borders. That's what he does for the rest of the debate. And it's like, there is something called specific policies in between.
Nuance?
Maybe you've heard of that.
No.
What?
No.
Nuance? No.
Yeah. By the way, Teriak, when you say chosen race, holy nation, you can't have a nation without ethnicity.
How long till I get to argue for open borders?
First of all, nuclear family.
How long till I bring out the Brian Kaplan into me? I bring the dog out.
Are civic, and they are not morally bound. Otherwise, then you would be like morally bound to like this plot of land of where you're at. I don't think there is such a moral binding so as that you have to consider it as like what you have to do because you have a certain phenotype, right? Because you have a certain bloodline. So he's saying this is why Europe is going to have a civil all caused by the left. Well, look, just because people react the way they react, it doesn't justify their reaction, doesn't justify their choices, right? So I understand that you're going to have major problems when you have huge culture clashes of large numbers of foreigners coming in with their own value sets and their own civilizational expectations. And I get that that's going to cause chaos, but that's still not an argument for ethno-statism in and of itself.
Yeah, like, Teriak says that you can't have a nation without an ethnicity. Well, there absolutely can be pluralism within national frameworks. Canada is a great example of that. We literally have a dual ethnicity built in to our entire constitutional framework, as well as the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So the idea that all nations are based off of ethnicity in the singular sense is certainly not true. We definitely do have pluralism within the national framework.
Okay, but Canada isn't real, so...
Sorry, my bad. My bad.
Got him.
I'm broadcasting
all the
ice sheet in the Arctic Ocean right now.
Also,
Come on.
You're
if
from
we're being
Greenland. We're
honest
taking
with
over.
the
Just you
text,
wait. Sorry, go, Chris.
And if we're being honest with the text being referenced here from Peter, a chosen race, a holy nation, and if we're being honest with Galatians 3, we got to look at the context of what these apostles are talking about. So Paul says it like this: "For ye are all children of God by faith in Christ Jesus. For as many of you as were baptized into Christ have put on Christ. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. Why? For you are all one in Christ Jesus. And if ye be Christ's, then you are Abraham's seed, and heirs according to the promise." So if we're being honest with the text that we're referencing here, this blend of Jew and Greek and bond and free and male and female only occurs in the body of Christ.
Also,
So
can
it
we?
can't really apply to a nation state one way or another as a chosen race, nor as a blended one. Because this is very distinct for the body of Christ.
Also, given Andrew Wilson's entire ideology, that being
That was entirely my fault. I fucked up.
ascribed to that theosis, which essentially states under the Orthodox framework that one ought to become as close to Christ as one physically can within their human limitations within the span of their lifetime. And within that statement, there is neither Jew nor Greek, bond nor free within the eyes of God. It's not even a matter of saying, well, if you go against that, then that's not a big deal. No, it's a sin. Because you're going against what God wants for the framework of the world that you live within. You're actively saying, no, God's wrong about that. Actually, in my interpretation of things, there is Jew and Greek. There is slave and free. And it's very clearly been stated that that's not the case. So...
Well, he's not allowed to interpret anyway, because supposedly he's got this Eastern Orthodox thing going on where they're not allowed to interpret. It's usually what he uses anytime somebody tries to interpret anything. It's like, oh, I'm not allowed to do that.
Right, you're not a priest. Maybe that's what he meant by "you made it up," is because you're Protestant, therefore I win.
It could be.
I'm more trad than you, bro. My church could beat up your church.
Your church beats up your anyway. Your own church all the time. All right, I was gonna say. So Benjamin Michael was on Inspiring Philosophy's live stream as a co-host for an apologist kind of stream. And what was interesting is I look at Benjamin Michael's channel, and he has a JQ video.
One off topic, but can you recommend an article that supports a positive? I've heard you state that redistribution is not a good solution to wealth inequality.
Whether that's true or not, completely inconsequential.
It might depend a bit on what you mean.
So I bring up the idea in the super chats. Okay.
Hold on, give me a second.
So
I'm
what
gotta play this Lucio.
How does that matter?
Lucio ball.
Lineage, as far as what they. How's it tied to what they do? And
Either you're referring to my arguments about
why are you making videos talking about certain bad
inequality, not essentially accounting for the stuff like the welfare state.
Ideology. And he's like,
this welfare state will reduce people's private savings,
an objective fact,
but it doesn't actually make people worse off.
Talk about history. He also
because the private savings are just being replaced or substituted with government
within the Orthodox
benefits.
Tradition, there is a focus on the Jews as far as
or you could be talking about
find bad Jew, bad about Jews.
Some more narrow stuff about.
I guess that explains a little bit why
how much
these ortho bros tend to
social taxes actually reduce inequality, like wealth taxes.
Enough of them.
Something along the lines that we should focus on predistribution. No, I say the opposite. I think redistribution is better than predistribution. I think predistribution is not the optimal solution to inequality, or even poverty.
They want non-nationalists to vote in elections. You say it isn't a binary, but when one side wants open borders, what do you think the response will be? Well, I think that open borders is kind of being used as a bit of a misnomer there. It's open borders in the sense of free trade. Under free trade, does that mean that every commodity being traded is literally free? Of course it doesn't.
That's not what open borders means.
No, I know. I'm literally making the point that that's not what it means. Definitely.
Where did he
I'm saying that open borders does not mean that anybody can just freely walk into any other country at any other time. The same way that free trade does not mean that every commodity being traded on the market is free. There's more nuance to it than that.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Just relative, not absolute in its language. I mean, absolute sounding in its language, but not absolute meaning in its language. That's no. I'm saying is
Where's the threshold?
Why is the criteria
Well,
phenotype? That's the question.
Well, hang on. Where's the threshold here?
Okay, what do you mean? When the threshold should be shared values, obviously. What's the criteria? No, what's the threshold? Isn't that kind of the same question? You're just putting it back in my lap. Part of it. Obviously, you can't have people that in your country don't speak the same language. That automatically makes all sorts of problems and things like that.
Are you allowed to prefer where you live?
I'm not saying that Uncle Giuseppe can't come from the old country and live with his English-speaking family. What I'm saying is, if you bring in a bunch of people who don't speak the language and don't have anything to contribute because they can't communicate, then it's going to be more of a burden than otherwise. Obviously, if they have, even if they're really smart people, but they can't speak your language, then they can't communicate with you to impart their information. But I'm saying overall, and also language divides cultures as well because of those communication barriers. And any communication barrier, whether it is, what would you call it? Even if it's like antagonism or jingoism of any kind or racism, that's gonna act as a barrier. And
This is like, I think this article has
your language would also act as a barrier.
some stuff that's relevant to that. There's like more
Yeah.
nuance
Shut up, Aiden.
stuff as well that I think I have
I'm just trying
somewhere.
to make it so there's not dead air, Zil. My bad.
But this makes
I wanted to make a distinction.
a point about redistribution versus redistribution.
Maybe not.
That's useful.
Because maybe he won't agree with me.
I feel like there's an Econoboy article about it, but I could be wrong.
North America are subtly different in our framing ethos. So,
is there a link? Oh, sorry, you weren't finished. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you this full panel.
There is some sense of ethnic enclave as a precursor to country that is baked into a lot of the European ideals. And we chose a propositional approach that was separate to that. So I don't know if that's what Teriak is pointing to, and that might be the distinction and misunderstanding that we're having, is that, again, it goes back to, is it okay if they do it? Personally, I would say yes. For us, we have always been much more open to basically give us anybody who wants to jump in and give their best in the American game.
Yeah, with vetting, right? We vet people coming into the nation. That's an important part, right? I can't really understand people with the open border stuff. I think they try to leave it vague and as a scare tactic, pretty much.
Personally, I'm actually open borders. I find the mismatch that goes on here is, as we have an entitlement system that doesn't provide that second layer of interaction that I was pushing toward earlier, which is you wish to assimilate because you wish to economically succeed. That's where my stickler is. Other than that, if you look through American history, like Jefferson would have been anti-borders because that would be against your natural right to travel and there's a word for this, but interact freely and socially with other people.
Yes.
Okay, yes. So are you allowed to prefer to live around people who look a certain way and act a certain way?
Well, you say allowed. Are you talking about morally or circumstantially? I would say that there is a sliding scale of how far you take that and how far it goes. So, for example,
then we're back to the threshold again.
Yeah, so the threshold would be, which would be nice if you could just shut up and let me say it. If you think that you have some kind of ontological belonging to people with your phenotype, that doesn't exist.
I see. And so now we got to the odd. So that's a mischaracterization of the odd. The odd here.
Once beginning extreme TikTok guy, fun. Why are you so passive and evasive? I was an sample text and synth both yelled at me afterwards for being too nice. I thought I would have more time. I only had like 30 minutes.
Various experiences that they have. Only one.
I would have gotten meaner over time. But I do have a Econoboy syndrome in me sometimes. I am too passive. I am too nice.
How you can tell them who they can or can't have come in.
Isn't that just a long roundabout way of saying what I was talking about? Because he's saying certain conditions. He's not naming the conditions. He's just saying, I'm just supposed to like let that go. But if he's saying that there is no implied sense of belonging, and then it's a people who say we have a right to stick together, and they have a justified way, a justified thought pattern that makes it so that we can stick together, and any offense to that, based on race, would be an affront to us. Isn't he then saying that there is an ought that they can establish that and thereby exclude people based on an ought that they have the right to push people out of their society, or worse?
Is he smuggling that in there? Is
It,
that
it all
begging the
it all
question?
hides within the implications, of course, because Andrew is intelligent enough not to overtly say those things. It's all within the implications of what he is advocating for.
And what is this right thing? I thought right thing was just like a force situation. So the question really is
And then things are complicated topics. You want to say things clearly, but sometimes you take too long to explain things. The guy just ignores everything said.
Right. If I'm
Yeah,
realist,
I don't know.
use more force than might makes and force doctrine and blah blah blah. It's over. So I don't. Now I'm supposed to feel bad for these people after we just did the force doctrine dance.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I tend to think that is a hypothetical that might exist kind of in isolation. So it's just
Like Japan?
No.
Like Japan?
Japan is like stuck in some kind of way where they're like totally. I don't think they're doing that bad where they have to like have all the spears on the outer rim and like just barely hanging on. I think they're doing all right. Like the situation he gave was certain circumstances by which they're trying to preserve their culture, and it's like, well, getting married might help that, but they don't want to do that. Starting families might do that, but they don't want to do that. So it's not like they're in a position just trying to hold on to their culture. They're just, too scared to do what's necessary to hold on to their culture, I guess.
Sounds familiar.
Yes.
Yeah. Happening in Korea as well. No, not with Christian nationalism. Japan, I already granted to you. With Christian nationalism, you can't have that going on and saying like, well, I'm Christian, but also my phenotype is the gatekeeper for who can come in and out. That is obviously antithetical to the Christian ethic.
Well, wait a second. If you had a Christian nation which already existed as being a Christian nation,
okay,
right, like an Eastern European nation, for instance,
sure,
like let's say Hungary, and Hungary says, we don't want to bring in any immigrants who are other than white. We just don't want to. Our people here don't want to. Have people groups come in that aren't us. Rather, we want domestic policies which increase our people group. How's that antithetical to Christian ethic?
Yep.
Is it a Christian thing or a
What
white
if
thing?
those,
Because he keeps putting those together. But
Yeah.
how does
Conflation is the move. I'm saying if it's a Christian nation, it doesn't involve, oh, well, Christ is at the top, and then we can just say that, and then some of Christ's principles we can just throw away if we have Christ in name only at the top, and then ethno-state is number 2, and then I don't know, military, is number 3. I don't know. He seems to be trying to have it both ways and act like I am the illogical one.
Well, I would have to ask, would these immigrants coming into this Christian nation, would they also be Christian as well? And if so, by what Christian moral standard would this nation have to turn them away?
Exactly. Because it couldn't be an the Christian ethno-state, I think, is a contradiction in terms because it qualifies that you necessarily would be of the same lineage. But that goes against everything in the New Testament from Christ and the apostles, as we went over in those passages. So by what moral law would they be justified to break those passages in principle? To prioritize your earthly culture, which is passing away, over your heavenly Father's estate, which should be more like on earth as it is in heaven. So unless you think that everybody's going to be racially caught in their corners in heaven, like shaking spears at each other, you have some weird vision like that, then you're going to have to explain to me how you can still have a Christian ethno-state when Christianity has to do with your spirit and not your skin.
Yes, and if a man has the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, then 1 Samuel 16:7 is pretty much a hammer for this case. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. And this goes for
we want to go to black heaven.
Like this. We should not look at the outward appearance, but we should look upon the heart. And as soon as the Christian stops doing that,
God's definitely accidentally let
Christ,
at least one white guy into black heaven before.
Him, Instead, they're following the flesh. And Paul gives us a very clear warning about walking in the flesh and walking after the flesh as versus walking after
That'd be a good movie.
But
So has Andrew tried to ground this in scripture at all yet?
No, he's trying to ground it in, like, I would say free floating reason. Like, he has a structure of an argument, and he is trying to use the concept of rights without grounding in order to make me feel like the bad guy for imposing on people who just want their precious little ethno-state.
Right. He doesn't
You need to get Iris to star.
to a Christian ethic odd.
That would be goated.
I think he's just saying, well, what if it's just our preferences, and why is that bad? Is what he loves to do.
He's trying to run the liberal argument on me, or his version of the liberal argument on me, and I'm running from a different value set. Because I don't see a reason why I have to accept the notion that it's a Christian nation and having that. For example, we'll go back to the early 1700s with America. We have supposedly, ostensibly a Christian nation in the sense that we have churches everywhere and predominantly the Christian ethic more or less is accepted. Why was George Whitefield kicked out of churches? Why was John Wesley kicked out of churches? Why was Jonathan Edwards kicked out of churches?
Well, initially here in this nation, when it comes to the founders, and even pre that, really it was about the English and the French, right? It was the English and the French were the ones who got all the rights.
One
more
step
than anybody
closer
else,
to Claude
right? Not
Fund.
the Germans, not anybody. It was basically.
I can't see the alert. I think the thing's covering it up. Thanks whoever donated. Fuck.
Christianity is not found in the shape of churches.
Did the alert not show?
Someone adhere to Christianity is found out.
Who was it?
Whether or not you're regenerate.
I appreciate it.
Whether or not you believe the gospel. Andrew, what's the gospel?
I think it was $3 because I think I was at 5 before.
You're talking about the New Testament. Are you asking about
How does
the Word? Are you asking?
let's say
Somebody, well, hang on. There's two ways that a person could frame this when they ask what the gospel is. Are you talking about the Word of God, or are you asking? Were these mostly a bunch of letters between bishops and high priests? And this is what we formed to the New Testament.
I'll
Which
make
thing
it
are we
super
talking
simple.
about?
I got stabbed in the back. I have 3 minutes to live. I'm bleeding out. Tell me how I get to heaven.
Yeah, it's the acceptance of Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior.
Okay. So when it comes to that, people can say that in word, and that was said throughout churches. Why was George Whitefield's message different? Why was Jonathan Edwards' message different when he says you can't take communion unless you have credible evidence of regeneration? And the churches kicked him out, even though you're not supposed to take communion according to 1 Corinthians 11 if you're taking it unworthily. My point was the focus of Christianity is spiritual. So why were there divisions among a bunch of people from the same group, and yet it was still called Christian at that point? Why were people who were the most influential spiritually in
Thank you, Mio. There we go.
One step
kicked out of
closer to
churches?
Claude Fund.
Right? Because there was a spiritual
I replayed it for you.
thing there.
I appreciate it, brother.
And it had nothing to do with race. Go ahead, Robin.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought you was done. I just wanted to say that, like, I've watched Andrews discuss historical events in our founding, and I feel that he is very ill-informed.
2 alerts for the price of 1.
Any founding
Well, I
information.
think it was behind the browser
Just like-
for the first one, but yeah.
Like Doug.
Here, you know what? I can give you 3 alerts for the price of 1.
Ill-informed.
One step
That's how nice
closer
I
to
am.
Claude
founding
Fund.
of this nation.
Yeah, a lot of Christian nationalists want to say this is a Christian nation, founded as a Christian nation. What's your response to that, Reax?
I'm sorry, to what?
When Christian nationalists want to say this was a Christian nation when it was founded.
I would say that it was greatly influenced by actual Christianity from the revivals, from the teachings of Gilbert Tennent, George Whitefield, Jonathan Edwards, John Wesley, and the hymns of his brother Charles Wesley. I think that the First Great Awakening is one of the most neglected, if not hidden, pieces of American history. That was also one of the most influential in terms of why the nation adopted the moral mindset that it did. It was because of Christ, and it wasn't, because there were a lot of there were also a lot of not Renaissance. What's the word I'm looking for? Enlightenment thinking at the time as well. that was competing for space, and so that was a major shift, I think. And the American Revolution was different in its ethic, certainly from the French Revolution.
Yes, but like, who would you say like our founding fathers? Like I would, you named off these other people. I would say that Thomas Jefferson, who drafted the Declaration of Independence, and Alexander Hamilton, and
Yes, that's on a government scale.
okay.
I'm talking about on a cultural scale.
Well, I know, but like founding the nation, like a nation, like our nation. That's the founding of our nation.
Sure,
Well,
but
my
Zil,
cousin signed the Declaration of Independence. In fact, he was the only clergyman to do so. His name's Reverend John Witherspoon, a Presbyterian.
Yes, Witherspoon. Yes, Witherspoon was one of our founding fathers too. Yes.
Yeah, and
but he was asking about in what sense was it a Christian nation? Would you say it's a Christian nation? The only sense I could say it's a Christian nation would not be governmentally necessarily, Robin. So you and I might actually just agree on this. But I would say in a cultural sense, if you wanted to call it a Christian nation, it would be on the local level, or it would be on the cultural level. It would not have been on the governmental level per se, because it was not intended to be a theocracy.
And that's a
and very I don't know the percentage, but like various signatories to the Declaration of Independence were like deist, or I think some of them were even agnostic to atheist, right? Like I know Ben Franklin, I think maybe not at the time he signed the Constitution, but closer to his death, wasn't he pretty openly agnostic? He could have just been a deist, but
A lot of them probably were, but 98% of the population at the time of the Revolutionary War were Christians.
Right, but
98%. Like I've had this debate before, so yeah, 98% of the population.
right. So the citizens might have been, but the important part is saying the government was not a theocracy.
No.
Christian nationalists want a theocracy, and they make the argument, well, this is a Christian nation from the start, so why don't we just do what we started with?
Theocracy. My problem with the theocracy is which denomination gets to make the rules.
Exactly. And then how do you stop an opposing theocracy from taking over? And then Sharia law, how do you stop that?
well, you see, could be reading some 500-page econ paper.
That was a part of the debate that the founders actually.
I'm gonna head out soon, but I don't know. I agreed to be here, and
Thomas Jefferson to write a letter to a
I'm not like
Baptist church.
I'm not like not having fun. Like it's chill. Like
the separation of church and state. It wasn't so much as keeping the church out of the state, but the Baptist pastor.
I know. Fuck, Ben Franklin was a deist. I looked it up. I thought it was, but yeah.
Congregation into accepting a doctrine or a confessional that he himself cannot teach. For example, most of your Baptists are Credo Baptists. Do
you philosophy, Mac? No.
Baptized.
I know philosophy, Max.
You were baptized.
I like.
You can be rebaptized.
Yeah, there's a few people on Substack I read, but that's about it. And a lot of my, online buddies are.
I say we
Philbro to Philbro adjacent people.
Big or small. And when we dunk a baby, well, we don't really dunk the babies anymore. Sprinkle a little water. But when we baptize.
What do you mean you honor Philbro font? I mean, I like.
Is good for the rest of your life.
I don't consider myself a Philbro.
Difference. Now, if
I think most people who have an understanding what a Philbro is want to consider me one. And I definitely know Philosophy Max.
I just want to let Teriak know, when we get the video over, you and Aiden can have your death match. How about that?
Oh, boy.
Rev, I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead and summarize your point again, and I'm going to hit the
I don't Philosophy Max, I don't even know if sample text Philosophy Max is. Synth.
Baptist pastors.
I would say Philosophy Max is, and I'm not anywhere close to, I'm not close to sample text even on philosophy stuff, I don't think.
In the Westminster Confession of Faith, as it's...
not Philbro, just autistic, exactly.
The Baptist pastor would then have to baptize babies that go against his conscience, and you see how that kind of spirals out of control. That was the main concern among your Baptists, your Methodists, your Presbyterians, and a lot of your denominations that have popped up over here in the colonies. So
right, and Christians can still affect legislation by voting. Okay.
Here we go.
So you're talking about this idea of prioritization. So if you ask me what's the most important thing here, of course, that's the most important thing. But there's also subcategories underneath that that are still important to Christian ethics. All right. There still are other things too. But if you ask, you have 3 minutes to live, what do you do? What else could you do?
Right. So
nothing.
No, not nothing. Not
What else
nothing. No, the gospel is to repent, meaning distance yourself between yourself and sin and believe. You don't do that through self-improvement.
The only way that you
Calling something basic econ. Oh, are you filtering me? I know that. It's crazy.
Christ, your savior.
I think it's because I said the word tautology.
That, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
Many
but,
people say
but that's
many-
all you
go-
can do in the 3 minutes. But that aside, I
Yeah.
still don't understand what that has to do with how you can have a Christian nation and the people want to prioritize selection of their own people if they own the land.
Because I am talking about from the very beginning, how does it crisscross with Christian nationalism? Even if I grant you that other people can have an ethno-state, if it is true in Acts 17:30 that God commands all men everywhere to repent, then even if I grant you some kind of understanding of ethnostatism, your ethic still must be a Christian ethic if you want to call yourself Christian, and therefore, if all men everywhere should repent, it is clearly unjustified if Christian ethics exclude the possibility of ethnostatism being morally justified. I know I said a mouthful there, but basically it's like if Christianity is true, ethnostatism is wrong. That's the simple version of that.
Right. And okay, it made me think of, well, wouldn't that harm the Great Commission if Christians were rejecting people like that, right? The Great Commission of sharing the gospel.
Well, it just depends on how you run the government, because I think you can have closed borders, and that would not be racist, because you would be, it wouldn't, like, it would be closed to everybody of every stripe, so it wouldn't matter at that point. But yeah, yeah.
Why? That's not in any way prohibited in Christian ethics.
If selection of the people is phenotype, and that is the only unilateral analysis of who you're letting in and not, and you want to call yourself a Christian nation, you're not doing it on Christian terms, because before Christ, as long as there's no other barriers that have any real significance, there is neither Jew nor Greek, slave no free, male nor female, for Christ is all and in all.
So wait a second. So then I don't understand. How can you say that there can be a barrier there at all between letting a person into your nation based on the fact that they're not a part of your ethno?
Well, I already told you. See what he does again? It's the open borders versus ethno-state false dichotomy. Nothing in between. He does it again.
Was there anything wrong with communities being mini ethno-states in a country? Like, remember all those white communities that went viral?
Which would at least be...
like, what if nation gets so divided where everyone lives in it? I mean, I think that's obviously bad.
Well,
when you say there's any, like, is there anything wrong with it?
Excluded black people to like the 1970s, mid-70s.
There's certain wrongdoings on behalf of,
Let's say they're criminal
on behalf of people there.
your language. Let's say there are let's say there's too many at once or something like that. Obviously the numbers are another consideration. There's a ton of practical considerations for who you want to
So what about the fact-
what I'm saying is if
Yeah.
you want to call yourself a Christian nation, if the univariate analysis is what phenotype are they, it's antithetical to Christian
But
ethics.
that's not the first conditional. The first conditional would be the acceptance of church, governing body, the acceptance of Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. All of the Christian ethics you would still be following. All you would be doing is making a preference on who can live on your privately owned land. That's not
Preference, he calls
antithetical
it.
to
When you
Christian
say
ethics.
privately owned land, you're not talking about the nation. You're talking about
The nation is privately owned land. Yes.
it's not publicly owned land.
No. Well, okay. The public is all it's a conglomeration of private citizens, right?
Well, I want to figure out because
Wow.
semantics are important. As
Yes.
you check that out, public, private, tomato,
Wow.
semantic games. This is the same guy who says semantics are important, and then he does that.
I would say sovereign land. A nation's sovereign.
We should let immigrants only live on the publicly owned land.
It was yeah, but
Thank you, Big Bad Mama. I'm more critical of myself in this than you are. I guess you know, but
This does seem embarrassing for Andrew, for what it's worth.
good. So, I do say often
Yeah.
there's public land, there's private land.
Yeah.
Your
So
house
who's
is-
the public here?
So when I hear public, I think of government-owned land. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, but government is the conditional of the people who empower them. Right?
Well, you're talking. Is this not collectivist language? Like, what would he have to say to a communist that they're saying public, private? You know, it's all fuzzy, it's all gray. Who knows?
Well, a lot of his stuff is very like commie coded. not even the not one step back thing. Just setting that aside, even his like force doctrine is very commie coded. It's very like, oh, if you get together in a collective of men all get together as a collective against a collective of women all get together, and then they all go to war. Like it's everything is dependent on collective everything. His whole shtick.
That is true. That is the thread that seems to needle all this together. Is like the people decide, the people decide, the people decide, and it's like, okay, but that can't be the cornerstone of what is true and right just because it's popular. Isn't that classic ad populum at its core?
I also don't even think it like
I believe so.
Like I think to be clear, like this point matters insofar as it makes Andrew Wilson look silly and stuff, but he's playing kind of some silly games. But like you brought up earlier, like I think the big issue, regardless of whether it's the public, the government making the decision or people making decisions about their own private land, like the problem is the univariate analysis based on the phenotype, right? Like that is, I think, kind of regardless, you should care about that part, right? But
right,
true.
But he wants to wiggle.
Unfortunately, Rex, okay, due to unforeseen employment, okay. Well, I say unforeseen, but unforeseen at the time, I accepted this invite. But I've had a job for a few days now. I do need to keep my sleep schedule on a normal-ish thing here, so I do have to drop out. But I will be watching you on my phone as I fall asleep. So know that as you continue speaking. But I like being here, and it's yeah, I'm not like a Christian, so it's interesting to hear some of the more biblical arguments against nationalist stuff, because that's not typically what I do. But I appreciate you having me on.
And I'm not on the left, obviously, but I think there is a middle that can benefit from eschewing its extremities. I think that between the rational right and the rational left, we could get rid of the freaks on the either side that go to extreme places. I think there could be a common goal for a rational discourse in politics again being the norm, instead of this accelerationist crap that we're going through on both sides.
Hopefully, I'm trying, brother. I've been arguing with a lot of socialists recently, so I appreciate it. I will we'll talk soon. BS
says I fall asleep to Rex all the time. Well, thank you. That means every night, BS, you have to come to my channel because you're absolutely addicted and you can't.
I left immediately. Damn. Okay, let me check one thing. TikTok guy's not replying to my DMs. Horrible. Okay. I didn't know what that was going to be. Like I said, it was a surprising. But okay, for sure on Saturday, I'll be streaming, talking to the Caden guy, Income Ultra Runner. I think I'll be. I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow because I need to do school work that I've been putting off doing. But so I don't know if there'll be a stream tomorrow. But if there's not a stream tomorrow, there'll be one the day after tomorrow. There'll for sure also be one on Saturday. But I'm going to try to set up another conversation on like Discord or Google Meets, or like not on TikTok, with the guy I talked to earlier today. At least one of the two of them. Maybe both of them, we'll see. And then I'm going to hopefully be talking to some of the other people from the tariff TikTok thing that I did yesterday. Not the Dylan guy, but the political ranger guy and the ribcast guy or whatever. I'm going to try to set up something with both of them. So we'll see. So that might end up being tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, but for sure on Saturday they'll be streamed, and on one of the 2 days, tomorrow or the day after, they'll be streamed for sure. But yeah, I got to do schoolwork, and I want to keep my sleep schedule like not horrible, because I do have to care about being able to get up and go to work now. So, but I love streaming. I love that y'all watch me stream. I do really appreciate it. Can I raid re-examination? I don't know if he has raids on. I don't think he does. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, head over to fucking head over to fucking Destiny. Okay. Huge 3 viewer raid going to Destiny, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Yeah. I'll see you guys again soon. I appreciate it again. So see y'all later. Curly Bear, thanks for the stream. Thank you for being here. See y'all later.